back-to-back nights for sports fans in the city of Kansas City. Monday Night Football, they dismantled the New England Patriots. And then 24 hours later, we got the first playoff game in 29 years here as the Royals take the field on a great night for baseball here in Kansas City. By Budweiser. Coco Crisp leads it off for the A's, followed by Sam Fuld in left. Josh Donaldson, the big bat, hitting third, and Brandon Moss is the cleanup hitter. As Cal said, Josh Reddick's been hot. He's in the 5-hole. Then it's Jed Lowry. Stephen Vogt plays first. Giovanni Soto is behind the plate, and Eric Sogard is the second baseman. Only two right-handed hitters going up against the right-hander James Shields tonight.
James Shields, 32 years old. His career record is 114-90. His postseason mark, more important, 7 career starts at 2-4 with a 4.98 ERA.
Let's take a look at that Kansas City defense there, Iron Man.
Yeah, here's the guys with the gloves. Gordon's in left, the Gold Glove winner. Cain's in center. Aoki's in right. Moving to the infield, we have Escobar and Infante up the middle. Mike Moustakas and the Gold Glove winner Eric Hosmer at first base. Behind the plate, we have Salvador Perez. And on the mound, Big Game James.
Here's the umpiring crew for this American League wild card game. Bill Miller calls the balls and strikes. The crew chief is Jerry Davis at first. Dan Isonia at second. Bill Welke at third. And of course, being a playoff game, you add umpires down the lines. James Hoy in his 7th year patrolling the left field line, and Todd Titchener down the right field line. There was a plane flying overhead during batting practice, said it's been worth the wait. And this is not unlike what we encountered a year ago when we did the wild card game in the National League side in Pittsburgh, and that place was off the charts. Same story here at the K, Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City.
Now, I don't know if everyone will agree it was worth the wait, but I'll tell you, this crowd is as loud as it was in Pittsburgh. James Shields has the best changeup in right-handed changeup in baseball. Just has a great motion. You'll see a lot of that pitch tonight.
Coco Crisp leads it off and takes a strike. Chevrolet pitch tracks and the arsenal for James Shields. And as Ron said, watch that change. Shows the fastball 60% of the time. That's down low. And the count even, a ball and a strike.
After seeing Big Game James pitch all these years, I'd say the percentages were a little higher on that changeup, because when he gets in trouble, that's the pitch he goes to.
Missed inside, and if you need any indication in the difference between regular season baseball and postseason baseball, is the roar with every pitch.
You know, you spend your entire 6 months, 162 games, trying to be the best you can be over that time, and then you get here, every pitch counts, every hit counts, every ball caught counts, every decision by a manager counts.
Yeah, the intensity is way up. I remember as an infielder, you get ready, you know, every single pitch obviously during the season, but it's not nearly as exhausting as you do in the playoffs. It's like you're ready to move left or right or in. It's just, you're intense.
I imagine game time couldn't come soon enough.
Well, the
You
hardest
had to wait through the day for this to happen.
Yeah, the hardest part was the nerves would build up before the game starts. But once you get out there, once you get your first ground ball, once you get into the game, then it becomes the same.
Payoff pitch to the A's leadoff hitter. Slapped into left field, and Coco Crisp is on with a single.
A lot of these Tigers, as you see this high fastball from Shields, got into a 3-2 count. That's what this Oakland A's team does best and did best over the first 4 months of the season. They will work the starting pitcher, get deep into the pitch count.
Crisp has 19 stolen bases in 24 tries.
Much has been said about the lack of offense when Cespedes got traded, that big presence, but they're still a good offensive team, and they started to get it going in the month of September, the last 2 weeks in particular.
Sam Fuld, the number 2 hitter, took a strike 0-1.
Bob Melvin said he was in the lineup. He thought of Adam Dunn and all that power, but expansive outfield here in Kansas City. You need the defense of Fuld.
Yeah, you got to assume it's going to be a tight one-run game, and defense could be the difference in the game.
Mike Gallego, the third base coach, one of the best defensive infielders you ever saw during his time.
This is probably the last place Sam Fuld thought he would be. Earlier this season, he began the year with the A's, but only played 7 games. They say he checked his swing. That's Bill Welke down at third. So he began the year with Oakland and then claimed off waivers by the Minnesota Twins and then traded at the deadline back to Oakland. Then he finds himself in the playoffs.
Yeah, pitcher's perspective, you think he went, right, Ronnie?
Always.
Hitter's perspective, I think he kind of held up. He didn't really make an attempt and break his wrist. Even though the bat is out there around home plate, I still don't think that's really the indication that he swung at it. He held up.
We got a 2-1 count. Bob Melvin said they probably wouldn't steal a lot, but they might hit and run, even though he thinks it's only about a 30% success rate with the hit and run.
Crisp with the lead at first, and Fuld goes the opposite way. Alex Gordon back and makes the play. Gordon, the converted third baseman who's won 3 Gold Gloves as an outfielder, and made that one look easy as he had to go back.
You know, generally speaking, if a guy has a really good changeup, he likes to pitch to guys that can hit the ball out of the ballpark. So they're going to start the bat earlier, and the changeup can fool them. If you get hitters that are content with taking and hitting the ball the opposite field, that changeup becomes less effective.
Outfield defense of Kansas City will play a big part in this game. Cain and Gordon can go get it.
Now here's Josh Donaldson. Leads the A's in hits, home runs, and runs batted in. Swings at the first pitch and fouls it away, 0-1.
This little man generates just about as much bat speed as anyone in the game. He's playing with a banged up left knee that he fell on, but at this time of year, Bob Melvin ran down his list of guys hurt on his team. Seemed like the whole roster.
Everybody had something at this point.
It's safe to assume that everybody does have something at this point. But I tell you what, the playoffs, the change in weather a little bit, although we're not experiencing it here, and the adrenaline push really takes all those pains away.
Shields jumps ahead. No balls and 2 strikes.
Sometimes you get ahead of a hitter 0-2 and you say advantage pitcher. Both those swings, Donaldson was on both of those pitches.
Shields, the 14-game winner. Delivers the 0-2. Perez kept it in front, 1-2.
Buck Showalter said about Salvador Perez, he said behind the plate, he's like a big pillow. Nothing ever gets away from him. He just forms that big body of his and gets down and just smothers the baseball and keeps it in front of him.
It's really interesting. A changeup artist normally likes to throw 2-1, 3-2, throw the changeups in different counts. But Big James, his changeup is a strikeout pitch. Took 2 shots at it right there as well.
He's got that power changeup. He came from Tampa Bay. Alex Cobb has it over there with the Tampa Bay Rays. Johan Santana in his day. That changeup that can put a hitter away. Righty, or lefty.
First strikeout for Shields and the second out of the inning.
And that was his changeup. He tried to get him to chase in the dirt on it, got to a count in 2-2, and came right back with it, tripled up on it.
So righty on righty, Cal, 3 changeups in a row. How many times do you see that? Very, very rarely. Change in speed. Donaldson's hand off the bat.
Crisp still at first. Here's the cleanup hitter, Brandon Moss. And he takes a strike, 0-1. Moss would appear to be the guy most affected in the Oakland lineup by the trade of Yoenis Cespedes. His power numbers drop tremendously after the trade. And this ball's well hit to right, and you can forget about it. He adds to the power numbers there, into the seats, over the bullpen, and it's 2-0. Just his 3rd home run since the trade of Yoenis Cespedes.
And that's one of those changeups that just stay right over the middle of the plate. And he got all of it. Looked like they were starting to pitch him in with a cutter and then try to come back with a changeup. He was sitting all over it.
I'm never a big believer in changeups the first time through the lineup, because what are you changing off of? Nothing. He had thrown one cutter inside, straight to the changeup, maybe a little too hard. Moss took care of it.
That's very true. A hitter then has to first respect the fastball, and if he's just looking for the baseball, sometimes the changeup will be perceived as a fastball.
Tape measure shot by Brandon Moss, and here is Josh Reddick.
I think with Big James, though, those sort of rules go out the window because his changeup is exceptional.
Reddick's got good numbers. Career against Shields, .318 with 3 home runs.
Yes, that will put a smile on your face. Your first AB, post in 2014. That's Reddick's bomb earlier this year.
Got 2 of them in the same game. Went up there looking for a fastball the very next time in the first pitch and deposited that one out as well.
2-2 to left. Gordon right there in his tracks. But the Oakland A's, the last team to clinch a playoff spot, the first to score in this game here in the first, and they used the long ball. Brandon Moss, long gone. The A's jump out 2-0. Royals coming to bat. Here's their batting order, brought to you by Budweiser. Alcides Escobar in the leadoff spot with Nori Aoki second. Lorenzo Cain, the speedy center fielder, hits third, and Eric Hosmer in the cleanup spot. Then it's Billy Butler, Alex Gordon, that team's leader in home runs and RBIs. Salvador Perez, the catcher. Omar Infante, who has a career high in RBIs this year. And the third baseman is Mike Moustakas, and John Lester's on the hill.
What I forgot to mention about the pitchers, both Lester and Shields, is that they are auditioning for big dollars as free agents if you want a #1 pitcher. His year, maybe his best this year. A lot of losses, but a great ERA. Lots of innings like he always has.
And quickly he's ahead of Escobar. No balls and 2 strikes. Ned Yost, late in the season, swapped the #1 and 2 guys in the order. Aoki had been the leadoff hitter predominantly this year, but then he put Escobar there, and it really sparked the Kansas City offense. And so here in the wild card game, it's Escobar who leads off.
Lester's 252 starts in his major league career, 116 wins, 67 losses, but only 2-3 at this ballpark. This is a team that swings out of the strike zone a lot. You don't have to throw strikes when you're ahead.
Ran it inside, and Escobar wouldn't bite. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The thing about Lester also, after the trade deadline deal was made. His first start was against the Kansas City Royals, and he beat them. Still 2-2 as that's fouled away. He had beaten them with the Red Sox in July, wins in Oakland, and then beat them again later in August at Kansas City.
Well, you mentioned earlier, they've only beat him 2 times during the regular season, both wins by John Lester.
On the ground up the middle, off the glove of Jed Lowry, and Escobar is on.
This was just a cutter outside, hit hard up the middle of the plate, a tough play, probably has to be ruled a hit. Just hit him off the heel of the glove. Ned had to take an angle to that ball that he could throw out a speedy runner. And that's the advantage of having speed, is that you have to make that play in a do-or-die sense.
It is ruled a hit, and here's Aoki. Squared the bunt and took it 0-1.
It was so interesting. Ned Yost told us before the game, if Escobar gets on, Aoki's bunting. I wouldn't think he would bunt with a 2-0 deficit, but maybe still going to play his cards the way he thinks he should.
Escobar at first, probably Kansas City's best base runner, and he's stolen 31 out of 37. Quickly behind in the count is Aoki. No balls and 2 strikes. You'll see a lot of swings up there that are a little unorthodox from time to time. Whatever it takes from Aoki to get on.
Occasionally that batting stance and swings seems like he's swinging an oar through the strike zone, but he gets it done.
Lester stepped off and a little bluff over there toward first.
He usually does not throw to first, does not have a great move, but is very quick to the plate.
You might have thought when this one game came up that Derek Norris would be the catcher for the Oakland A's. Swings a good bat, but has trouble throwing runners out. Soto's been much better in that department and thus gets the start against the speedy Royals. On the ground to second, Sogard with the high flip, but they get the out. Dan Isonia is the second base umpire. He took a long look at it. And then made the call. So they get the force, but Aoki reaches on the fielder's choice.
Well, it's interesting about that play. Sogard is in for his defense. The high toss, maybe a little nerves. Nice play by Lowry, but in the vicinity, I guess, of second base there with the force. I think he got his toe on the base, though.
Here's the center fielder, Lorenzo Cain. 8th in the American League with a .301 average. Another guy who can really run. Cal?
Here's a now the distinction needs to be made here. Are you trying to turn the double play, or are you trying to get the force out? And many times you have to make that decision as a shortstop. That one, because the throw was off, you got to make sure you get your toe in the bag and drag that to get the force out to keep the big inning from happening.
In the air to right field, Josh Reddick. 2 down.
You know, Soto being in the game as a catcher has thrown out 50% of the runners and has good strong arm, but there's not really that many attempts, and I don't think there was any attempts from the Kansas City Royals when they were facing John Lester this year. So it almost seems that if it's John Lester on the mound and there are no attempts, why do you need somebody that can throw?
Remember, Lester had his great success with Oakland this year with one catcher, Derek Norris. He had great success in the postseason last year with one catcher, David Ross.
There is a value to learning. Now, he came over to Oakland. They all had to learn him really quickly. So who's to say that Soto can't learn him just as quickly? But there is some little concern right now that he hasn't caught him before. Doesn't know how he thinks, doesn't know what pitches he wants to throw to, and maybe doesn't know how the ball actually comes up there and cuts.
Eric Hosmer waiting on a 1-0. There goes Aoki. Here's the throw to second, no chance. Aoki actually overslid the bag just a touch, but the throw was offline. And there was no chance for Lowry to apply a tag.
Well, you know, all of their stolen base people on this team, he did go past the bag. He's been thrown out 8 times, so he doesn't have a great percentage, but he went on first move, and he guessed right.
So a runner in scoring position for the Royals with 2 down. And Lester delivers a 2-0, or was about to, and then time was called at the very last instant.
Yeah, it's obvious that they're going to use their threat of speed and getting off the base to disrupt some of the timing from John Lester.
Well, Giovanni Soto was arguing with home plate umpire Miller, saying, hey, that's way too late. You're going to hurt my pitcher, you call time that late.
Down and away, 3-0.
This offense is predicated on making things happen. And Ned Yost is going to make sure that he doesn't vary his plan, even though down 2-0 in the first inning. You still got to play your game.
So let him swing 3-0. He's going to get a fastball. Let him be aggressive.
Four-pitch walk. They're at first and second.
Interesting to see Soto out talking to Lester. What can you tell Lester about pitching in the postseason that he doesn't know, as he's trying to relax his lefty?
How much of this is the first time? He has not caught Lester. And are you totally on the same page?
Well, sometimes you're not on the same page. It could be as simple as watching the catcher give those the multitude of signs with a guy on second. Sometimes it takes him longer than the catcher you work with normally. It's little things like that that can change your tempo. He is a tempo pitcher.
Here's one of the most popular guys wearing the Kansas City uniform. It's Billy Butler. Up high, 2 balls and no strikes. And the plate jumping a little bit for Lester here in the first.
Lester pitching on 5 days rest. That's an extra day. You never know, for a lot of pitchers, even the great ones, a little strong in that first inning.
6 straight balls since retiring Cain on the fly ball to right.
But just because it's 6 straight balls doesn't mean you should take here.
He does take. Strike called. And Butler didn't think much of it.
Did not like that call by Bill Miller. What do you think, Cal?
It's a 2-0 cutter, so it's got a little movement. It's right on the edge.
And inside again and missed. 3-1.
I know for all good hitters, when they're facing good pitchers, pitches close, they say, don't help him. He doesn't need any help.
How do you know they say that, Ron? Because that's exactly what we do say.
Hitter's pitch with 2 on and 2 out. drilled to left. Base hit. That's going to score a run. And it's going to put runners on the corners with 2 down. Kansas City on the board.
It's obvious that he's coming back inside again. This time Butler's looking for it. Put a good swing on it, hit a line drive. Maybe lucky it's just a single.
Well, that's why Sam Fuld is in there. One, great hitting by Butler, being ready for that pitch in. Fuld is so quick, he's able to keep that ball in play, keep Butler at first, keep the force at second.
Here's Alex Gordon. The Royals leader in home runs with 19. RBIs with 74. It's a 2-1 game, and all 3 runs have come with 2 out.
And just another example of Royals baseball. They've been playing behind a lot this year. They still stay to their game. Aoki faked the bunt in his first pitch that he saw in the post. He stole a base to set up scoring a run.
Alex Gordon, another one of those homegrown products. And there is Billy Butler, caught between first and second. Now Hosmer edging away at third. And now they're going to throw to the plate, and Hosmer is out. Billy Butler wandered off first, and it resulted in the 3rd out. Butler knocks in a run and then costs him. Hosmer, no chance. It's 2-1. Chevy Silverado. Top of the second, Jed Lowry leads it off. Oakland leading 2-1. Bizarre ending to the bottom of the first inning for the Kansas City Royals, as Billy Butler was picked off and caught between first and second. Now what do you make of this?
Well, I don't think there was a play on, because neither Hosmer or Butler can run. I think Butler's talking to Kuhn saying, hey, if they're playing behind me, should I steal? Should I steal? Well, you never looked at Lester. Lester just stepped off, and they made the play. The simplest of plays that maybe work in high school, certainly not supposed to work at this level.
And the putout was made at the plate. And you saw Rusty Kuntz, the first base coach, and Billy Butler. Everybody trying to explain exactly what happened.
Well, you definitely don't do something that you don't do normally in the regular season in the playoffs. But there are times when a first and third left-handed play will work. I stole my first base in the big leagues on a left-handed play of home. It was against John Matlack. When he takes his eye off of you, you start to run at third, and then he runs over there at first. But on a play where you're just trying to get in a rundown, you better have some really fast guys that you're going to be able to do that at the big league level, where you can execute and steal a run. That wasn't the right situation just to get in a rundown and then try to score a run a la Little League.
Took the bat out of the hands of your leading home run hitter and RBI guy in Alex Gordon, with runners at first and third.
Who was your MVP of the season? We showed the graphic and what he hits with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. Everything he does. Infante hitting him on the head like, well, you're going to have a hard time, Billy Butler, explaining that at the coffee shop tomorrow.
I think the logical explanation is that if you're going to play behind him, he doesn't throw over here. Let's just get a running lead and go. But again, asking him to do that when he hasn't done that, and during the course of the season, that's a risk.
2 balls, 2 strikes to Jed Lowry.
It's early. Not a lot of pitches have been thrown. That inside fastball to lefties that Shields usually just excels at. He has not gotten one call or not made one pitch inside yet.
3-2. Boy, did he turn on that. Look out. One of those line drives foul that you hope everybody's paying attention down there.
Both pitchers have hit 95, Ernie. and I know how you like the 95.
It's not me, it's you. It's nice to see that 95 flash up there on the board.
When we look at their control and the type of pitches they throw, we forget they still have a 95.
Hosmer made a nice grab, and Shields made a nice catch. At first, one down. Fourth member of our crew is Matt Weiner, who's got the best seat in the house. Matt, what you got?
That's a pretty good one here in the Royals suite, where they are hanging on every pitch, including George Brett, who signed with this organization 2 years after it was born, and he's been here ever since as a Hall of Fame player, as a pivotal piece of that '85 championship team, as an executive, as a coach, etc. You've been a part of this rebuilding process as well. How gratifying is this scene tonight?
It's pretty special for a town to wait 29 years. And when I first signed with the Royals in '71, and then we made the playoffs, and I came up in '73, '74, big my first year. You make the playoffs 7 out of 10 years, you think it's going to happen all the time, and it hasn't happened since '85. So very happy for Dayton Moore, very happy for Ned Yost and the rest of the coaching staff, and especially all the players down on the field, because they've really worked their tails off and developed into a really good ball club.
When in this development process did you think you had a team that could reach this level?
I think last year in the second half of the season, the way they played, they were always kind of just, they had a tough time getting to 500 for a long time, and once they got over 500, they got on a pretty good streak, and all of a sudden last year at the end of the season, I'm saying, these guys aren't that far away, and it was a good experience for them last year to play exciting, pennant contending baseball. They were in it till the last week of the season, and unfortunately Detroit beat us and we lost out in the wild card. But I think last year was the first year I really saw these guys, thought these guys were ready to play.
And the organization took a calculated risk in trading prospects to bring back James Shields. Between the innings, the wins, and his presence in the clubhouse, what has he meant the last 2 years?
Well, you can ask Danny Duffy and Ventura about that. He's mentored those guys. And don't forget, we got Wade Davis in that deal also, who had the most incredible year as a reliever I've ever seen. I think he's given up 4 extra base hits all year, ERA of 1, just been the 8th inning specialist of all time. But James and Wade brought over a looseness, a confidence about them, and it's really rubbed off on the young guys.
By the way, our bosses will be very happy to hear that George spends many of his afternoons watching what network?
TBS, baby.
Because it's...
Yes. Because it's very funny. Very funny.
There you go. There you have it.
I had that down earlier. You kind of stunned me by it.
Tried to lead him right into it.
It's friends in Seinfeld.
There you have it.
Of such moments, promos are made. Thank you, George. Thank you, Matt. Stephen Vogt draws the 1-out walk, and here's Giovanni Soto.
Two close plays now that have gone against the Royals on the check swing. I'm not saying going against the Royals, but a play that's been asked the first baseman once, third base umpire once, both against the Royals.
There's a strike, 1-1. Soto started the year with the Texas Rangers, played 10 games, and then was sold to the A's near the end of August. Hit .262, didn't hit a home run, knocked in 8 runs, but it's his work behind the plate. Caught 9 out of 17 runners attempting to steal that got him the start tonight. He was fooled, and it's 1-2.
Soto is active behind the plate. Gets down low on one knee. But also has a little thump in his bat, too.
Back in 2008, Soto was the Rookie of the Year in the National League with the Chicago Cubs.
He really thought he was going to be a fixture for those Cubs for years to come. He had a tough year, tough next couple of years.
Vogt with a lead at first. Soto looks at strike 3. 2 down.
Looked like a fastball away. Soto thought it was down. Our pitch tracks had it down also.
Bill Miller rang him up. 2 down.
Yeah, that definitely was down out of the strike zone.
Here's the number 9 hitter, Eric Sogard. Swings at the first pitch and fouls it right back.
Not many everyday players anymore you see wearing the glasses during a game. It's become kind of his, I don't know, that's who he is. His trademark, right?
Vote at first with virtually no lead.
Vote is one of those guys that's suffering from a banged up ankle and toe.
Ball is outside. And it's 1-1. Bob Melvin saying, look, it's not how you got here, it's that you did get here, and it's a fresh start. 1 ball and 2 strikes. A 10-16 September for the Oakland Athletics. And it was touch and go down the stretch because Seattle, after losing 5 in a row, got hot. And Oakland able to hold them off. Sonny Gray came up big on the last day of the season. And here they are. Shields with a 1-2.
Both pitchers are horses. Give you a lot of innings, pitch you deep in the ball games. But both of them are getting up with a pitch count here early on in this game.
Melvin said Lester is 125 to 130. I would say the same except for the great bullpen of Kansas City for Shields.
Fouled into the mitt of Salvador Perez. Second strikeout of the inning, 3rd of the game for Shields. We go to the bottom half of the 2nd. Where will you be the next time history is made? Be there for all the action in 2015. Go to MLB.com/season tickets to reserve your seat today. Alex Gordon leading off here in the bottom half of the 2nd. He was at the plate when the Billy Butler episode happened in the bottom half of the 1st inning, which resulted in Eric Hosmer being thrown out at the plate.
Still trying to absorb that up here. An 0-2 count is a count where you take a chance on doing something. Because the facts are that you got not a good chance to get a hit off Lester. And the count is 0-2.
Fly ball left field, and Sam Fuld makes the play for the 1st out. Let's take a quick trip to Atlanta. Check in with Casey Stern. Case? I can see our Yale man, Ron Darling, analyzing what you just gave us. And the look on his face right now is as blank as mine.
It was the first state inducted into the nation. That's why they would be the first state to talk about the Royals and the A's.
There you go. Somehow I knew.
Sorry, Case.
You would have the answer. Ball and a strike to Salvador Perez. John Lester, when you get into the statistic of quality starts, that's a couple of miles high, right behind short. And Jed Lowry squeezes it, 2 up and 2 down. goes 6 innings. You allow 3 earned runs or less, credited with a quality start. John Lester made 11 starts for the A's, 11 quality starts.
Well, a quality start is an interesting stat because if you take it all the way out, over 9 innings, you have an ERA of 4.50. John Lester would not be happy with an ERA of 4.5. He's a 2.5 kind of guy. The number about a quality start does show, though, there is some consistency there. That every time he's out there, he's going 6. You know, he's giving up a little bit of damage, not a lot. But mixed in with those quality starts are a shutout here and there. And 8 innings of shutout ball.
It seems like, yeah, you look at that and say, you know what, he's going to keep you in a game.
It was a foregone conclusion years ago that if you logged a lot of innings, you had a lot of quality starts. Because they wouldn't keep you in there if you weren't doing the job.
So interesting to see a shift put on with Omar Infante, who I always think of as a guy who sprays the ball all over the ballpark. Second baseman Sogard almost behind the base. To the pull side is Lowry.
The 0-2, and he literally goes down swinging. 3 up, 3 down. We head to the 3rd. We move to the top half of the 3rd, and in the bottom half of the 3rd, pretty good chance you're going to see a different battery for the Oakland A's. Let's take a look at tonight's forecaster presented by Voya Financial. 75% chance the A's will win when they score first. 57-19 in the regular season. Coco Crisp leads it off here in the 3rd, and the reason we say that is between innings, we could look in the dugout and see that Giovanni Soto had taken the gear off and was talking to the trainer, walked out of the dugout, and then you saw Derek Norris saddle up beside John Lester. So here was Soto, and accompanied by Nick Paparesta, the Oakland trainer. And there's Norris, who's got the gear on.
Norris doing whatever it takes to get loose.
There's that change again, and Crisp way out in front. A ball and 2 strikes.
Any time a changing catchers in a postseason game might benefit the starting pitcher Lester.
Crisp singled to left his first time, came around to score in front of Brandon Moss on the 2-run bomb. Just reached out with one hand and slapped it to first. Goes 3-1 in the books, and it looked like Shields for a second might have gotten nipped by Crisp at the bag. Let's go down to Matt Weiner. Matt?
Ernie, Giovanni Soto, who was brought in for defensive purposes to start this game, is done for the night. He has injured the left thumb. Of course, that's his catching hand. He did it on the tag at home plate. I spoke to him a few moments ago. He said he heard something pop. Asked him if he had broken it. He said, I don't know, but I can't receive the ball.
All right, thank you very much, Matt. So Derek Norris will get the call in the bottom half of the 3rd inning.
That finger will blow up. I've had that myself. It's called the gamekeeper's thumb. It's where your thumb is bent back and the pain is pretty bad. So trying to catch that cutter for the rest of the game is not going to happen for Giovanni Soto.
2 balls and no strikes to Sam Fuld.
Gamekeeper's thumb. Yeah, I don't know why it's called that. You know what's interesting about today's game, because of the replay, that's a game where it almost would have been a phantom tag, right? When it just caught you on the hip maybe. But now when you want to make sure that you apply the tag, he really caught him right in the midsection and took that complete blow from Hosmer.
Johnny Gomes finds himself in the postseason again, watching on as Fuld pops it up behind the plate. Does Perez have a play? No, he doesn't. Missed it by a row.
Perez has been one of their Venezuelan warriors this season. He played in 146 games. That's better than the record Darrell Porter held at 145. never misses an inning, it seems. Also, their shortstop from Venezuela, Alcides Escobar, played in 162 games this season.
And the guy sitting in between us, Cal Ripken, didn't bat an eye when that stat was mentioned. Toward right softly, and it will fall in front of Aoki for a one-out single. Third hit allowed by James Shields as he works here in the third. For Ned Yost, this also a first. First time he's managed a postseason game. And has been nothing but confident going in, thinking that these Royals, with the way they've picked up offensively to go with their great starting and relief pitching, could be poised for a deep run. But there's Josh Donaldson, who singles to left. They're at first and second.
Well, big game James so far has not been on, and I'm not going to say that because it's the third inning. He's given up a couple of runs. He's only given up 4 hits, but the swings from the A's hitters have been locked on so far to Shields. He is not, as they say in the baseball parlance, he's not really fooling anybody so far.
And he certainly did not fool Brandon Moss in the first. A no-doubter into the seats in right over the Oakland bullpen.
He has been fighting with his control. Got into some hitters' counts. But you're right, the swings have been really strong. Foul balls have been good swings. Some of the outs have been hard outs.
Runners lead from first and second. 1 out here in the third. And Moss at the plate. Line drive, flagged down by Hosmer, who throws to second to complete the double play. We've had bad base running on the Kansas City side, and now Sam Fuld gets caught off second on the soft line drive to Hosmer. We head to the bottom of the third. Thanks for tuning in here on TBS. We move to the bottom half of the third inning in a 2-1 game. John Lester and the A's on top. Mike Moustakas, the number 9 hitter, takes a strike leading off here in the third.
You see the shift here. This is where most of the balls that Mr. Hosmer hits go to. Saw Moustakas up at the plate.
And he spoils the shift, goes the other way. Wide turn at first, but Sam Fuld hustled that one in. Leadoff single here in the third for Kansas City.
Dale Swaim, since he became the hitting coach in late May, has been trying to get Moustakas to go to left field more. He says, yes, you've got power to hit 20 to 30 home runs, but instead of hitting just barely over 200, hit the ball to left field. Perfect display there.
It's also a classic case is the infield can play him to pull, but the outfield did not play him to pull. Sam made a nice play over there, but he was playing him more true that way. The outfield was not shifted.
So he had 74 hits this year from center to right field and only 20 to left. Big one there.
Here's Alcides Escobar. Donaldson in on the grass at third. And they lay it down. Donaldson makes the play, moves the runner over into scoring position with 1 down. As we talked about in the top half of the inning, Derek Norris replacing Giovanni Soto behind the plate for Oakland. Escobar with the sacrifice bunt puts Moustakas at second for Nori Aoki.
That was one of those bunts that was kind of sacrifice bunt, but also take a chance on getting a hit. You don't want to give up a run, but you also want to advance him to second. So he didn't give it away too early. Bunted it just a little too hard for a hit.
Time called.
See Bob Melvin right now, hands out like, come on, Bill Miller, you kidding me? Let's go. That's 2 times now. One of the best pitchers in the game, and he's halfway and throwing the baseball and 2 timeouts.
Moustakas was dancing off the bag at second. Aoki asked for time, and it was granted with Lester basically into the line.
I got to believe that that's strategic, though. Dancing off second base and also asking for timeout.
The Royals said before the game that they are going to try to somehow mess with the tempo of John Lester. They think it would mean a run, maybe even two, by making sure he doesn't throw the ball when he's ready to throw it.
1 ball, no strikes to Aoki.
I was home plate umpire Bill Miller, though. I would be like the boy who cried wolf. The next guy who wants time, I might not be so ready to give it to him if he's in a Royals uniform.
And now Aoki wants time again. He reached on a fielder's choice his first time, stole second, and has scored the only Kansas City run on Billy Butler's line drive single.
The old fly in the eye. They've been using that forever, Cal.
They have.
That's right through there. 2-1. Kansas City team that tries to manufacture runs. Last in baseball with 95 home runs. Only team to not hit 100.
It's interesting with that flat kind of swing of Aoki. He kind of stays in that strike zone a long time. Batting .363 against left-handed pitching. Kind of tells you when that breaking ball, if it doesn't have that good curve on it, if it's going across the strike zone, he's going to stay with it.
He has a great ability to keep his hands inside the ball, and he waits a long time, and he stays in there on lefties.
2-2. So the Royals last in home runs, last in walks drawn, and had the fewest strikeouts. And when you're talking about teams who make the postseason with the fewest walks and the fewest home runs, has never happened in modern baseball history. On the ground, right at Lowry. Throws across for the second out, while Moustakas moves to third.
I mean, when you look at that Royals offense, it's almost exactly the opposite of what Oakland is trying to do. They want to walk a lot. They want to hit the ball out of the ballpark. That's all they care about. And just the opposite for the Royals.
One of the fans going all biblical here with the Cain is able sign as Lorenzo steps in here in the third with 2 down. And the tying run 90 feet away. That's Mike Moustakas. He flied out to right his first time. And he lines a single down the line. Could be extra bases. Fuld up and throwing in, and it is a stand-up double for Lorenzo Cain, and the game is tied.
Surprisingly, this lineup for Kansas City has some really good numbers against John Lester. Cain, some of the best numbers. And he wasn't waiting around.
He was able. And with his speed, turned it into a double. Fuld played it well in the corner, but the go-ahead run is in scoring position with 2 out for Eric Hosmer.
That's such a big run in a playoff game. It's easier to play when you're even. It's even easier to play when you're up 1 run. But when you're down, you start to get a little more tight as the game gets going on.
In the air, shallow left, Fuld on. That's going to break the tie. Cain scores, 3-2 Kansas City.
Just the ball off the end of the bat, a cutter that he gets just enough on. One of those perfectly placed loop hits.
And a night for clutch hitting. All 5 runs in this game coming with 2 out. And then here's Billy Butler swinging at the first pitch. He knocked in the first Kansas City run with a line shot in the first.
Watching Lester in this game, Cal, 2 things come to mind. He is not using the outside corner to the right-hand hitters at all. Middle of the plate in with that cutter. And have you seen a curveball yet? I don't know if I have. That's one of his better pitches.
Breaking pitch, stayed up and away.
There was your first curveball.
Maybe that's why. Not even close.
You can fall in love with a cutter inside all the time, especially if you're having success with it. But one of Lester's real successes is that he also has a 95-mile-an-hour four-seamer, and he can dot that on the outside corner or pitch up in the strike zone. If you forget about that, you just fall into the cutter, they can start to cheat on it.
Rounded to short. Lowry will go the short way for the force. But the Kansas City Royals have taken the lead over John Lester and the A's as they score 2 in the 3rd. It's 3-2. To get exclusive behind-the-scenes access and expert opinions from the biggest names in sports, check out Behind the Mic, powered by Ford, on BleacherReport.com/Behind the Mic. American League wildcard game here in Kansas City at the K, Kauffman Stadium. And we move to the top half of the 4th, and Josh Reddick takes ball 1. Reddick flied to Alex Gordon and left his first time. And now we see how James Shields reacts pitching with a lead in this game, Ron.
We saw the graphic, 2.02 ERA and shutdown innings. The only issue he's having in this game is that the Oakland A's are not going out of the strike zone. First pitch was a breaking ball taken by Reddick. Changeup taken by Reddick. Now fastball down, also taken. This Oakland A's team, you're going to have to come into the strike zone at some point. Perez is urging his pitcher on.
And it's a little bit of both. It's his control is not pinpoint, but also the Oakland A's do not swing at bad pitches.
From 3-0, now 3-2.
Interesting watching Shields. It's almost like he's got 3 different fastballs. That 95 rider, that little cutter that's 91 or 92. And he can also two-seam it away. That was a little cutter in the middle of the plate that Reddick missed.
To Hopper, the second, 1 down.
That was a big battle back from 3-0. So you make a pitch on 3-2 to get that out.
Hard to express to you how important it feels as a pitcher. You get 3-0 on a hitter and you come back, you get that first out of the inning. Huge out there for the Royals and Shields.
Here's the shortstop, Jed Lowry. Grounded to first his first time. And takes a strike.
Seems like that strike zone for Bill Miller is opening up just a little bit for Shields here in the 4th.
In the air, right center field. Cain easily 2 down. That guy has big, long strides and is graceful and covers ground like there's nothing to it. And in this ballpark, you got speedy outfielders. It's pretty much a necessity.
It's interesting. 2 outs here in the 4th means what we talked about in the open. James Shields has to get 7 outs and not give up a run to get Kansas City to the way they played all season long, to that Hydra bullpen of Herrera, Davis, and Holland.
Those 3 have absolutely been lights out. And a big reason that when they lead after 8, they're 79-1. Quickly ahead of Vogt, 0-2.
What a play.
What do they say in Baltimore? Give that fan a contract, or used to?
They used to say that. He snagged it with his bare hand.
Strike 3 called. The intensity ramped up here in Kansas City. Because after a 29-year drought, the Royals lead a playoff game. It's the wild card on TBS. Bottom 4 in Kansas City. Royals leading 3-2. Alex Gordon leads it off. Gordon flat out to left his first time. Big, slow breaking pitch. 0-2.
That's the adjustment that he has to make. And normally he does. You want to mix in that curveball because it has the spin of a cutter, but it also changes speeds.
Hardest part for a pitcher in these games is your adrenaline sometimes works against you. You end up throwing the ball harder than you have all year, and you forget about all those little touch pitches, which are so important to your success.
Got him off speed. 1 down here in the 4th. Moments ago, we spoke with the A's pitching coach, Curt Young. Curt, how do you assess, you've seen Jon Lester at his best, obviously. How do you assess what you've seen tonight?
Well, he does well. I mean, he's always going to pitch ahead in the count, and he's going to attack the strike zone. He's not one of those guys that you have to tell to do that. So, you know, they're looking to hit the ball early. They're looking to get a good pitch early to hit. So he knows that, and it's all about location early on for him.
Hey, Curt, do you see any problem with Soto now out of the game with the bad thumb and Norris in catching Lester?
Well, basically, this was Soto's first time catching him this year. Dino's been his catcher all the starts that he's been here. So they're real comfortable together, and they've worked very well together.
Our thanks to Curt Young for his time in between innings. As Salvador Perez faces Jon Lester.
Again, when to call a breaking ball could be one of those issues for Soto catching him for the first time.
Perez second on this Royals team in home runs and RBIs. Behind in the count, 1-2. Steps out. In the air, near the line, and foul.
So the increase in curveballs thrown by Lester, that was the first fastball away thrown by Lester with the new catcher Norris in there. Norris with the nickname Dino with the Duck Dynasty haircut, and fingernails were all painted so Lester can see the signs. Doesn't seem to all go together.
Going back to the curveball.
And we got him to wave at it for the second out. Time for records and milestones presented by Jim Beam. And you see John Lester's sterling earned run average coming into this game in the postseason of 2.11, trailing only Christy Matheson and Wade Hoyt. Kurt Schilling on that list, and Kenny Holtzman, number 5 on that list. 2 up and 2 down here in the 4th. And Infante grounds to Lowry. That's a quick 1-2-3 inning for John Lester. 4 innings in the books. Wild card on TBS. World champions in 1985. Last time the Kansas City Royals were in the postseason. They won it in 7 over the Cardinals, and we welcome you back to what is essentially a Game 7 atmosphere in the wild card game. 1 and done. Jared Weaver and the Angels waiting for the winner of this game. The loser goes home. Derek Norris leads it off here in the 5th. He came on when Giovanni Soto had to leave the game with a thumb injury early. So Ronnie, if you're Jared Weaver, you watching this game like a hawk?
Oh, big time, big time. Just trying to find out any little nuance from either team that's going to help you in your start. You know, which hitter takes the first pitch curveball? Which hitter, when there's guys on base, swings at the first pitch? Those are the little things you want to know.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Got him looking. Moments ago, we spoke with Royals manager Ned Yost. Ned, they kind of came out and punched you in the mouth in the first inning, but this is your team, the way they fight back. You wanted a lead against Lester, but you had to come from behind to do it, and right now you got it.
We did. You know, Moss hit a changeup off of Wago there in the first to put us down 2, but you know, our focus was to try to create havoc on the base pass, try to, you know, bunt, try to hit and run, try to get guys in scoring position and see if we could make something happen. And so far it's been good for us.
Yeah, creating havoc. You almost took it to another level with Billy Butler. What happened on that play?
Well, that play broke down on both ends. You know, Billy left too soon. He was supposed to wait till Lester threw the ball home, break down, take the second, break it down, and then Haas was going to come to the plate. If we ran it right, we would have scored a run. But Billy was too early, Haas was too late, and we had to find other ways to score runs.
Other than that, it was perfect, fellas.
Well, what's interesting is Susan Slusser, who follows the A's and writes for the A's, said that the Angels successfully did this against Lester last week, but that was run so poorly by Kansas City. That could have been defensed by the 12-year-old Cal Ripken travel team. Could have gotten it out there.
2 up and 2 down here in the top half of the 5th. Back to the top of the Oakland order and Coco Crisp.
Think about this, Ernie and Cal. The collateral damage of that is Hosmer knocks Soto out of the game with the tag.
Yeah, he's thrown out at the plate. And then the thumb injury knocks Soto out.
Just trying to give Billy a defense after the game.
Yeah, Billy knocked in a run and then gave a run away potentially. Shields pounding the zone now here in the 5th.
Now Crisp is mad at the strike zone by Miller. A team that takes a lot of pitches, think they know the strike zone. Miller has opened up the bottom of that strike zone. See first pitch strikes from Shields.
That's definitely beneficial to Shields when he opens up the lower part. It sets up his changeup, sets up that low fastball that you can't then lay off of that changeup down below there.
Stays alive. Yeah, as opposed to the Royals, who threw the fewest walks. Oakland threw the most. 586, first in baseball.
Someone with a good slider that goes down, or someone with a really good changeup. That low fastball strike is something that sets up that pitch.
3 of the last 4 strikeouts by James Shields have been pitches taken by the Oakland Athletics.
Here's the changeup right down in the dirt. A little too far down to get him to fish.
Taking that pitch almost like they know it's coming.
And Shields has gotten his control back. He's making those pitches, those fastball pitches.
Ned Yost said before the game, you give James Shields a lead, he will hold it. That's the kind of pitcher he is.
Looking for his second straight 1-2-3 inning. Crisp wants time.
He wants that backdoor slider. He wants a pitch that he can throw for a strike that appears to be a ball so he can get Crisp looking.
Backdoor cutter.
Checked his swing, did not go. Says Bill Welke at third. Ned Yost doesn't agree.
And I've been watching games all season. The check swing has been one of the biggest differences in the game. It has been called early and often, but not here by Welke.
Stayed outside, 3-2.
Shields on his delivery. He'll just drop his head away. Jeremy Guthrie for the Royals also does that. Almost like they drop it towards first base to clear that shoulder to release the baseball.
Tried to check again, and he's punched out to end the 5th. James Shields and the Royals through 4.5, lead 3-2. Don't miss the action tomorrow night in the NL Wild Card game as the San Francisco Giants and Pittsburgh Pirates battle it out. Tune into ESPN at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. First pitch around 8:07. Here's Mike Moustakas, who takes a breaking ball over for a strike. Moustakas, again, the A's shift, but he beat the shift his first time, singling to left.
That's the shift we were talking about. 74 of his hits to center or right, only 20 to left, but first time up tonight.
Yeah, look at the outfielders here. Left fielder, Sam Fuld, might be a little bit pinching the line, but everybody else is definitely straight away in the outfield.
Went the other way again. Fuld retreating and makes the play. I think sometimes it must be boring for Sam Fuld when it's just a routine play. This is a guy who's filled up the highlight reels in the course of his career.
He won't even get in the top 25 tonight unless something happens.
And he paid the price earlier this year. He, for the first time in his career, because he's run into a lot of walls, but when he was playing with Minnesota, crashed into the wall and missed about 30 games with a concussion. Talked to him about that yesterday because you see him players all the time with the concussion-like symptoms, and he said, no, I knew right away. He said the headache and the accompanying symptoms, and then all you can do is wait for them to go away. Took him 32 games.
Lester has definitely found his curveball. Using that very effectively now.
Sometimes all it takes is a catcher who knows you and sees from the bench that you're not throwing some of the pitches that he's accustomed to calling when he's in there.
High chopper up the middle. Lowry's got to hurry. And he gets Escobar by a step, 2 down.
The way they run, don't you feel like the Royals are just tailgating you at all times? They're the guy right behind you in the car.
Objects in the mirror may be closer than they appear. Follow the postseason with MLB.com at Bat, the #1 app for live baseball, highlights, scores, live radio broadcast, replay reviews, and more. Get the At Bat app. Nori Aoki. Reached on a fielder's choice in the first, stole a base and scored a run. Grounded to short in the third. Giordano Ventura is in the pen. He's a starting pitcher on this roster for moments like this, getting ready in case needed in the 6th inning.
I think what he's up for is that I don't think they'd bring him in because he's a starting pitcher in the middle of an inning. They've now decided that they've gotten far enough that a guy like Ventura, who's going to start at some point if they move past here and win, is just getting some throwing in. Because they probably told him today, do not throw, just stay in the bullpen, and once we get past the 5th, then you can go and get loose a little bit. I don't think he's going to be getting ready to come in the ball game, not the way Shields throwing.
I talked to Ned Yost about him being on the roster the other day, and he said, look, we only threw him 4 Sunday, and as soon as we knew where we were going to go, which is home to host this game, if we need him, we'll put him there. But to your point, you're the guy who's been out there.
He could be the X factor for Ned Yost if they do move on because of his stuff. Close to 100-mile-an-hour fastball.
Lester misses again. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
You know all the ins and outs of pitching, but I'm watching him out there. When you throw on the side, you work at a frantic pace.
Yeah, right.
Because it seems like he's trying to get loose and trying to get ready.
I definitely could be wrong. It's just the way that Shields is throwing. 3 outs gets you to that magic point you want with that 3-headed bullpen that you have. But you're right. Maybe if something happens where they need Herrera to come in and just throw that good fastball for 1 out, why not take the chance?
Just a little nubber over there toward third, and Josh Donaldson put that in his pocket. We are through 5 in the wild card game on TBS. A's got on the board in the first with 2. The Royals have answered with 3. 1 in the first, 2 in the third. And James Shields goes to work in the top half of the 6th inning. He has set down the last 7 A's he's faced. Sam Fuld leads it off. He can handle the bat. And Moustakas in just on the grass at third.
It's almost like Shields has decided, you're not going to swing at anything close? Okay, here it comes. I'm starting to throw strikes. Be ready.
Shattered his bat, and the blooper's going to fall. Leadoff single for Fuld here in the 6th. Let's go down to Matt Weiner.
Hey, Ernie, there are thousands of fans here who have never seen a post-series game in Kansas City before, some of whom weren't alive the last time the Royals played a playoff game. Rich Burstein is not one of those folks, but it has been a long drought, more than a third of his 87 years since there was last a postseason game here in Kansas City. He's a season ticket holder since the franchise began back in 1969. What has kept you coming back all these years?
The love of baseball and the love of the team here. I really do love it. I grew up a baseball fan.
Over nearly 3 decades of drought here with the playoffs, did you think you'd see this day?
Yes.
Why were you so sure?
Oh, it was bound to happen. Bound to happen. There were times when I felt a little down about it, but it was bound to happen. They've worked too hard on this team.
What does this day mean to you and everybody else here?
This game, it's just the reemergence of the Royals. We're back.
Back for good.
I would think so. It's not a one-time thing.
Enjoy it, Rich.
Oh, I am enjoying it very, very much.
Let's send it back up, DJ.
All right, thank you very much, Matt. Big spot in this game in the top half of the 6th inning. Leadoff hitter gets on for Oakland, and Josh Donaldson. 29 home runs, 98 runs batted in.
One of Bob Melvin's hunches has paid off. 2 hits for Sam Fuld now.
1-1 misses. 2 balls and 1 strike.
Well, this is the biggest pitch of the game. You're facing the best hitter that the Oakland Athletics have. 2-1 count. Guy with the best power on the team, other than Adam Dunn, who they acquired in late August.
Going back with a cutter. I thought he'd go change up here.
Huge cut from Donaldson. Fouled it back. 2 balls and 2 strikes, and Salvador Perez wants a word with his pitcher.
We've got 3 shot of Bob Melvin, Mike Gallego, and Josh Donaldson. It's interesting. If you listen to a lot of people around the American League, Salvador Perez is emerging as the Yadier Molina here in the American League. Not only the way he calls pitches, his durability, but also his way of controlling pitchers.
Good 4-seam fastball on the outside corner here.
Full count. Donaldson struck out his first time, singled in the 3rd. How big was that play now in the 3rd inning when Moss lined out to first into a double play? He's had a budding rally in that inning. There goes the runner. Pitch was outside, doesn't matter, they're at first and second.
This last pitch was away. Sometimes the catcher will steal it from the umpire because they get up to make that throw to second, but good call by home plate umpire Bill Miller.
Ned Yost is going to the bullpen. James Shields works into the 6th inning. The flame-throwing Yordano Ventura coming on. James Shields departs here in the 6th, with the Royals leading the A's 3-2. But Oakland has runners at first and second, and they are the responsibility of James Shields.
And you two were right. I was completely wrong. They're bringing in the young Ventura. It looked like Shields or Ned Yost did not want Shields to face Moss, who's hit a home run off him, of course, in the 1st inning of this game, or Reddick, who's been red hot against him in the month of August.
Brandon Moss, 2-run homer in the 1st, lined into a double play in the 3rd. Faces the rookie Yordano Ventura. 99 miles an hour. 31 games for Ventura. 30 of those are starts. He can be wild. 69 walks is the most on the staff.
Well, that's why I thought it'd be hard to bring him into this situation. All the talent in the world, a feisty personality. Can't get better stuff than young Ventura. But the walks are a problem in this inning.
Kelvin Herrera, part of that shut him down triumvirate that includes Wade Davis, Greg Holland. But right now it's all on the shoulders of 23-year-old Ventura. In the air to center field and pretty well hit. Lorenzo Cain is back and has no chance. Brandon Moss has done it again. Straight away center field, 3-run shot, and the A's have the lead.
I don't care how hard you throw, Cal. If it's 2-0 and a big league hitter knows it's coming, they dial it up a notch.
He's got all kinds of power to center, to left center field, to right. He just squares it up and sends it out of center field really quickly. What a great swing.
It's these kind of games where managers get out of their box and do things that they haven't done all season long and you expect the players to excel in a place they haven't all year long. Ventura relieved once right before the All-Star break in a 6th inning situation, but that's certainly not here on September 30th.
The reaction from the Oakland dugout. And for James Shields, 3-2 lead becomes a 5-3 deficit, and Ventura's been rattled by the Oakland 3-run homer, falling behind 2-0 to Reddick in his postseason debut.
Brandon Moss has personally quieted this crowd twice.
He's had 3 good at-bats today, and obviously the 2 homers, but he's also lined out the first.
Well, Ron, you had counted it down in the innings leading up to this. Here's where Shields is. Here's where the Royals are. Need this many outs to get it to the shutdown guys in the 7th, 8th, and 9th. But the 6th has been a trouble spot. With Reddick singling, that's 3 hits and a walk here in the 6th, and a long ball by Brandon Moss. Dave Island is the Royals pitching coach.
Jeff Samardzija, he's having a nice smile now, seeing that home run by Moss and what part he'll play for the Athletics, one of their 4 great starters. Along with Sonny Gray and Scott Kazmir. Shields almost beside himself.
Ventura had only allowed 1 home run in his last 10 starts, and that came in the season finale against the White Sox. Marcus Semien took him deep. And then this by Brandon Moss. 2 home runs, 5 runs batted in here in the wild card game. That ball goes all the way to the screen.
You know, you're just asking, and this is my opinion now, you're asking a young man to do something that he's never done. And on this stage, it's very difficult to have success that way. If you're going to go with the 3 guys that we talked about before, Herrera, Davis, and Holland, somehow get those outs from those 3 guys, because they've been there. They're used to pitching with men on base. They're used to the big stage. Maybe not the postseason stage, but they're used to the big stage.
2 balls and a strike to Jed Lowry. In the air to right, playable for Aoki. There's the tag at second. And sliding into third is Josh Reddick. Let's go down to Matt Weiner.
Well, Ernie, there's a lot of baseball to go here in this wild card game, but if this result were to hold up, the image of James Shields walking off the mound is very likely the last you'll see of him in a Kansas City Royals uniform. Royals knew that Shields would become a free agent at the end of this season when they acquired him last year. Today, Dayton Moore, the general manager of the Kansas City Royals, was asked about the possibility of keeping him. He said, winning is attractive, yes, but, quote, we're not going to be big players in the free agent market. In other words, there are likely to be much bigger offers awaiting Shields when the season ends.
All right, thank you very much, Matt. Ventura has electric stuff, but Ned Yost has pulled the plug. We'll be back.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent.
Top half of the 6th inning continuing here in Kansas City, and a pivotal inning for the Oakland A's. They've plated 3 and have another one 90 feet away. And Kelvin Herrera enters the game for Kansas City. He faces Stephen Vogt. Infield in for the Kansas City Royals, who are down 2 and trying to keep the deficit right there.
Only 100 miles an hour on that first pitch from Herrera.
Vogt has walked and been called out on strikes.
This is a situation, if you're Oakland, you could take a chance on a contact play with the infield in, but watching the lead of Donaldson does not look like the contact play's on. They're going to allow the next 2 hitters to have a chance to drive the run in.
Well, Bob Melvin told us he would use the contact play only if he had a runner on, that if the runner on third was caught, had enough speed to get to second base back in scoring position. Vogt is not that man.
High and away, and 2 balls and 1 strike. So James Shields works into the 6th. Allows a hit and a walk, and Ned Yost went with Ventura, normally a starter, out of the pen in the 6th. And he couldn't get it done. 3-run homer he allowed to Brandon Moss. And Reddick with a single. Wild pitch got him to second. Fly ball got him to third. And that's where we stand. 5-3 A's.
Herrera needs a strikeout here.
Popped up over there behind third, and it's going to drift out of play.
Well, that's one of those, Cal, if you're an infielder, do you catch it? I mean, 1 out, your back's to the play as Moustakas was, and you're not even sure if should you make that play because Reddick would have tagged up, sorry.
You tag up on all foul balls, period, and then watch the play pretty intently, because you can fall into the stands, you can get caught up down the line, or be moving away from home plate. This gives you a chance to score a run.
Good battle going on here between Vogt and Herrera as he fouls off that 99-mile-an-hour fastball. Vogt's a guy who came up with Tampa Bay, and when he was called up, went 0 for 25 with the Rays. Didn't get his first hit in the big leagues till he went to Oakland. That's popped up. And there is room for Perez, who makes the play. Big out. 2 down.
Well, Herrera didn't try anything fancy. He just kept everything from the letters up on Vogt at that at-bat.
It's a big out right there. They have to keep it within 2 runs right here.
Been a long half inning here with Oakland batting, and John Lester staying loose in the A's dugout. Here's Derek Norris.
Well, Norris has been one of the more clutch players for the Athletics all year. A .330 hitter with runners in scoring position.
Grounded up the middle and through, and another run for the Oakland A's. Driven in by Derek Norris. Big 2-out hit scoring Josh Reddick, and now it is 6-3.
What a huge at-bat, Cal.
Went up there, likes to swing at the fastball, has a nice short, quick swing. Gets it right into the ground, right up the middle.
A 4-run 6th inning has Oakland on top 6-3. And I'll tell you this too, guys, we've given a lot of attention to how strong that Kansas City bullpen is down the stretch, 7, 8, and 9. Oakland ain't shabby, and you got John Lester still on in control, ready to go out for the bottom of the 6th.
Well, I think we talked about the Royals bullpen because it was a 3-headed monster that could come in and shut you down. But the thing about the A's bullpen is we concentrated more on Lester because Lester's the kind of guy that can go 7 or 8 innings, can go 125, 130 pitches. He might get it, the baseball right to Doolittle.
Up the middle again, Escobar. Can't get the ball out of his glove, and they're at first and second. Tremendous stop by the Royals shortstop, but could not get the force.
Another one of those top spin balls up the middle. He shows his great range by getting to it, but just can't get it out of his glove to make that counter flip to second.
And they knew once the first time he couldn't get his hand on the baseball correctly, he knew he was not going to have a play.
So Sogard reaches with his first hit of the night. Norris is at second. And here is Coco Crisp, top of the Oakland order, as the A's have batted around here in the 6th. And there's a shot to center, and that's going to score another run. Here comes Norris. He'll score easily standing up, and it is 7-3.
Oakland Athletics fans have been waiting 2 months to see this ball club. This is the ball club that they saw early in the year, the first half, when they would just bunch hit after hit after hit.
They were considered one of the top offenses for the first half, which got them out there to their best record. They just keep coming at you, and they can hit the fastball.
Sam Fuld to the plate. 10th A to hit in the inning. He led it off with a single and scored a run on that 3-run homer by Brandon Moss. Two to the A's left fielder.
Just a 90-mile-an-hour changeup there from Kelvin Herrera.
Look out, let go of the bat. As the runners were in motion on the 0-2 pitch.
Well, Bob Melvin and the Oakland Athletics playing a little Kansas City Royals baseball. Sometimes lost in this inning with the big home run by Moss is that when Sam Fuld, after he had the hit, he was running on that 3-2 pitch to Donaldson that was called the ball outside of the zone. If it had been called a strike, he would have been thrown out on second, and this inning would have been over.
That was a risk. I thought that was a risk at the time.
Bullet foul, pass first.
Shields could either throw the changeup or a fastball, could get to a strikeout count, and then you run yourself out of an inning. But that's the way Oakland A's plays aggressive baseball. They'll take the stolen base when it's there. They'll put their guys in position, and they have the confidence that if it's not a strike, they'll take the walk.
That's Chip Hale to Bob Melvin's left, his right-hand man.
Another 0-2 to Fuld. And Herrera blows him away. But here in the 6th inning, Brandon Moss struck again. And he went to straight away center. The A's 7-3. John Lester now working with a 4-run lead, 7-3. Goes to work here in the bottom half of the 6th in Kansas City. Lorenzo Cain falls behind 0-2. In case you're wondering, in his career when he's given a 3-run lead, 3 runs or more, John Lester 85-1. That number provided to us by our ace statistician, Hal Galima.
The best in the business.
You know what the 7 runs does is you can't really slug your way back in. They don't have the home run power. They still have to somehow manufacture runs, but they can't take a bunch of chances either now.
They got to pick away though if they can. A run here, a run there, maybe get to the bullpen, but it's going to be tough off Lester. Lester's legacy just keeps growing and growing, doesn't it? Asked about pitching a postseason game, said it's no big deal. It's like any other game. Well, I guess it is to him.
Was reading what he had to say going into this game, and it speaks volumes to the focus that you need in postseason baseball, because he wasn't looking big picture. If I can get through this part, he says, I want to win this pitch. I want to win this inning. And he won that at bat with Cain on the grounder to short, 1 down. It was pitch to pitch, hitter to hitter, inning to inning. It is golf's most exclusive event, the 2014 PGA Grand Slam of Golf. It all starts Tuesday, October 14th at 4 o'clock Eastern and Pacific on TNT. Ron Darling, who shot a 74 the other day. But they can only have 4 there. It's the major champions.
Well, that's a 9-hole record, isn't it, Ernie?
Boom. Here's Eric Hosmer. Right at Sogard. 2 up and 2 down. Has John Lester settled in or what? And you think back to last year's postseason. He was 4-1 in 5 starts, ERA of $1.50, and won 2 games in the World Series. They are as tenacious, as tough as they come, and a guy who lives for a stage like this. And even though Kansas City got to him early, his teammates picked him up with that huge 6th inning, and now he is settled into a groove.
Discovering his curveball has been a good thing for him. Mixes his pitches, also mixes in the cutter and also the 4-seam fastball. There's another example of it right there.
Occasionally when John Lester gets into this groove, it's almost like he's a pitcher who has the ball on a string. I mean, that's what it makes it look like.
Billy Butler waiting on an 0-2.
Here's the 4-seamer away.
You know, he's up there. A lot of players around baseball will tell you he's got the presence of a Felix Hernandez, Kershaw, all of those guys. Big game pitchers.
Strikes out Butler and has set down the last 10 Royals he's faced. 6 innings in the books, and the A's 9 outs away. Let's take a look at tonight's playmakers presented by the all-new Chrysler 200. No question. Brandon Moss hit a couple of balls about 1.5 miles. 2 home runs, 5 runs batted in on the night. He will come to the plate second in this inning, and Josh Donaldson takes a strike from Kelvin Herrera.
They had a machine to gauge bat speed. Donaldson's got to be up there, isn't he? Pound for pound, generates about as much bat speed as anyone in the game.
He turns it loose. He doesn't get cheated.
This the guy's playing on a bad knee. Yesterday's workout for the team, they trying to find out where he was. He'll be in the trainer's room most of the day, today and tomorrow, to get ready for the night.
Misses with the 0-2. The Oakland A's, who was touch and go down the stretch at one point in August. They're 28 games over 500. And then things started unraveling, where the month of September became very interesting.
They went from 6 games up on the Los Angeles Angels to 12 games down at some point. Trying to stay in the groove.
I got a Nick Punto yesterday at the A's workout, and he said, you know what? It's really 2 words: new season. And that's the mindset you have to have. It doesn't matter how you got there. You're there. And now everybody starts fresh.
Well, he would know every time we come to the postseason, Nick Punto's in it. He might be with another team, but he's in it.
He was with the Dodgers last year.
Cardinals a couple years ago. Twins before that.
2-2. Herrera strikes him out to begin the 7th. And if you're a Kansas City fan, here comes public enemy number 1. We had talked about Brandon Moss before and after the trade of Yoenis Cespedes. Before the All-Star break, 21 homers and 66 runs batted in. After the Cespedes trade, which was right at the deadline at the end of July, 2 home runs and 9 runs batted in. Those home runs coming in consecutive games, September 14th and 16th. He seemed to be the guy most affected by the trade of Cespedes. But here, it's a new season. You wipe the slate clean.
Day off and go get him. He changes the whole equation for the Oakland Athletics if he's hitting the way he did in the first half. Public enemy number 1. He won't be able to stay on the Missouri side of the Missouri now. He'll have to stay on the Kansas side when they come into play.
First A's player with 5 runs batted in a postseason game. They got him there. But he did his damage earlier, that's for sure. 2 outs here in the 7th. You know what makes you feel old too, guys? Brandon Moss, used to watch Brandon Moss play Little League ball in Loganville, Georgia. When my son's team would play his son's team, and luckily he never hit a ball that hard off my kid.
Well, he's hit almost 900 feet of home runs in this game. Josh Reddick and Brandon Moss, another contingent on this Oakland team from Boston, both signed by the same scout, Rob English.
Here's Josh Reddick.
Reddick, Moss, Lowry, Lester, on and on for the Athletics Red Sox connection. Coco, of course.
I still don't think people, all of us thinking about the trade, that it would have that much of an effect on the offense, that it would actually make them go into that much of a collapse.
I'm sure Billy Beane didn't think that either, or Bob Melvin.
When I heard about it, I thought it was the greatest thing ever, because you are building, for the postseason, but you're also strengthening your team with that frontline starter. But the dynamic of having someone with presence in that third spot, or the third or fourth spot, where it puts everybody else in their slots, it is quite possible when you lose that everybody else feels that they have to do more. They try a little harder, they swing a little harder, they think they have to hit more home runs, and then they get themselves into a rut.
Bounced up the middle and off the glove of Omar Infante, and Reddick is on with a 2-out single.
So in a strange way, Cal, maybe that trade you're talking about made the Oakland Athletics a little weaker over the 162 game schedule, which they proved over the last 2 months, but have made them dynamite if they can get through here and on to the Angels.
Well, I think that's probably the logic, is that how do we give ourselves a better chance to go further in the playoffs? And there are types of pitchers that you want to ride when you get to the playoffs, ones that can take it into their own hands and continue to pitch under the pressure. And Lester is the marquee player for that.
Jed Lowry checked his swing. It's 1-0. John Lester, Johnny Gomes coming to the A's.
And Cespedes is the only kind of player that the Red Sox are going to take to give up a guy like Lester and a postseason hero from last year, Johnny Gomes. But you have Sonny Gray, who pitched the last game of the year this year, throws a 9-inning shutout. You got Jeff Samardzija, who you got from the Cubs, who's a number 1A kind of pitcher, but doesn't have postseason experience. So it's going to be interesting to see how he adapts. This man has adapted nicely his entire career.
Herrera came on in the 6th in relief of Yordano Ventura, who had come on in relief of James Shields. And the game imploded. Moustakas made the stop and threw out Lowry. Well, they set a record for the noise made at Arrowhead last night. It's going to take a real uprising here at the K tonight. We welcome you back. The ALDS on TBS, presented by T-Mobile. Right now it's scenario 2 that would apply if the A's win. It's Tigers and Orioles at 6, A's at Angels at 9:30. If the Royals come back, you saw the start times for that. Alex Gordon leads it off in the bottom half of the 7th, and there's a lot of work for the Kansas City Royals to do.
And Alex comes out swinging. There's no sense in taking the fall behind 0-1, 0-2. You're going to have to hit yourself back into this game.
0-2 from Lester, who has retired the last 10 Royals he's faced. They got to him for a run in the 1st, 2 in the 3rd. And there's a strike 3 call. Gordon strikes out for the 2nd time tonight and is 0 for 3. So, fellas, we talk about the 2 runs in the 3rd, but since then it's been nothing doing against John Lester. And boy, the Oakland Bats just, when you needed it most, in a very critical inning, the 6th, before Kansas City could load up their big three, 7th, 8th, and 9th, they blew this game open.
Well, to me, the two swings. Brandon Moss has changed this game. The Oakland Athletics are a team that are going to take a lot of pitches, which push the pitch count of Shields up. Then they're going to try to hit balls out of the ballpark, which Brandon Moss have done. And at some point, the trade they made this summer that we talked about for John Lester, he would pitch their most important game after final 2 months that were tough.
Yeah, the Royals couldn't get past that bridge inning that would have almost guaranteed them a win. And on the other side of that, Lester struggled a little bit for him, but then found it with his off-speed curveball, and then he's been spot on after that.
We talked before that for the Royals to win this game, Shields had to get it to the big three in the bullpen. He couldn't. Ned Yost chose to go with the starting pitcher all season, Yordano Ventura. And you could see when Ventura came in that, you know, like most young pitchers, you want to come in and throw 1,000. He got behind 2-0 and Moss made him pay.
A ball and 2 strikes to the Royals catcher Salvador Perez. He nibbled at the corner and missed, count even.
It's always much easier to talk about a decision after it's happened. But if you look at it, you think, okay, couple choices. You go with James Shields to get you there, or maybe you expand the role of the big three out there to ask him to get one more out than they normally do.
Josh Donaldson made a nice play on a tricky hop and threw out Perez for the 2nd out.
Well, Lester early on did not have his good stuff. I think he was trying to get a lot of the hitters to chase bad pitches, but after that he found his breaking ball and things have completely changed. I don't know if it's because Soto got hurt and Derek Norris had to come in, his almost like personal catcher, that changed Lester around. I'm sure it's John who did most of it, but it doesn't hurt to have a guy who's caught you all year and understands what you're about.
Omar Infante shortened up as if to bunt, and Donaldson on the dead run was playing well back. Hey, you look at this stretch, Ronnie, where Lester has retired 12 in a row. Got 4 of those by strikeouts. Lots of ground balls. Had a soft liner to third. And really nothing hard hit.
Well, you had 2 different kind of personality of pitchers coming in. A big game James Shields, who talked about being an adrenaline junkie, loving to be in certain moments, loving to try to aspire to those great moments. And John Lester, who said just about nothing and said, I'm just going to concentrate on every pitch, concentrate on every inning, and just try to get the most outs I can. A bushel of outs behind the mound. Fill that basket. He's doing it pretty well so far.
Infante bunts back toward the mound, and Lester, well, the throw may have hit Infante, or maybe it was just a problem with Vogt trying to catch that, and we'll see if he was in the lane or if he was running on the infield grass. We'll get a good look.
Usually when a hitter bunts here, Cal, he'll be on the grass for the most part, but you see Infante at the very end seems to get as close as you can to that runner's lane. And
yeah, he's all right for sure on that. I mean, when you do lead an angle from the right-hander's batter's box, you do have to get in that lane, and in that lane is on the line. And so he was directly coming to first base. He was well within. You'll see a lot of runners intentionally go into the grass and get in the way. But clearly, he made the right attempt at a base runner, and he was just on the line, which he's entitled to.
It's a hit for Infante here in the 7th with 2 out. And here's Moustakas.
The Royals said that the bunt was going to be a big play for them in this ball game. First one comes in the 7th.
Well, early on, they had the luxury of playing for 1 or maybe 2 runs. Now they find themselves down 4.
Moustakas to left, and Fuld puts it away, and that'll do it for Kansas City in the 7th. Get a runner on, can't move him. And Oakland leads at 7-3. Don't miss the action tomorrow night in the NL Wild Card game as the Giants and Pirates battle it out at PNC. Tune into ESPN, 8:07 p.m. Eastern Time. And I am certain that the atmosphere in Pittsburgh will be just like it was a year ago when they ended the long drought. Great place to watch a ball game, and in that setting, it was just tremendous.
It was exciting. It was exciting here
early
on. The crowd is totally taken out of the game.
Wade Davis on the pitch and coaxes that lazy fly ball out of Stephen Vogt for the first out. These are not the circumstances that Ned Yost wanted to see Kelvin Herrera and Wade Davis working under.
What was interesting to see Wade Davis's numbers. Had one of the best seasons George Brett told Matt Weiner earlier. And Nathan and guys had in the history of the game. Just crazy numbers, 5-1 on strikeouts to walks. But right now, that decision to go out and take Shields out, it's almost like he almost asked Shields if he was all right, but the right arm came up quick for Ventura.
Here's Derek Norris. When you look at some of the deals the Royals have made, I mean, hand it to Dayton Moore. He's made some good deals. You swing that, and people looked at the Will Myers deal and said, boy, how can you give up this guy? Look at the potential he has. You get James Shields back, you get Wade Davis back. That'll be easy for Escobar. You make a deal and get Escobar and Cain when you trade Zach Greinke. So a lot of the guys you've seen who have put this team into the postseason were some pretty shrewd deals with some big names involved.
And this team's on the map for a while, even with James Shields might not come back because of impending free agency. You've got a kid Maria, you've got Finnegan, who's on the roster here, who's going to be someone that's going to pitch and start for this Royals ball club. Danny Duffy, who had a nice year. They're here to stay. Good young ball club, good defense, tons of speed.
Yeah, you build from within, and they've done it the right way. And if they all come together, then you have something to build around. And so when you lose a piece now and then, you can replace that piece.
No balls and a strike to Eric Sogard, the Oakland second baseman. There's a guy who's hit 2 home runs, Brandon Moss. Right now on the mound for Kansas City, a guy who hasn't given up a home run in ages in Wade Davis. And back to the 2013 season, and the strikeout of Sogard gives Wade Davis a 1-2-3 inning. Middle of the 8th at the K. Play postseason showdown throughout October. Simply pick the winners of head-to-head player matchups between, say, Detroit and Baltimore for your chance to win a pair of 2015 season tickets for your favorite team. Good deal. Go to MLB.com/showdown to play right now. Bottom half of the 8th inning. Top of the Kansas City order. And a tough task in front of them. They're down 7-3 to John Lester.
I mean, I know this might sound boring to some people as the rally caps have come out, but your job as especially a starting pitcher, reliever too, is at some point you get your mechanics to a point where you become almost like the mechanical man. And that's where John Lester is when he's got it going.
Grounded up the middle and under the glove of Lowry and into center field. Infielders crossed there and neither could glove it. And there's a leadoff single for Alcides Escobar. And if you're the Royals, you're thinking you got to start somewhere.
And here's a chopper over the mound here. And the speed of Escobar, again, forces that shallow angle It may be a desperate attempt to play this ball on the run. Ball stays down.
Yeah, they gave him an error on that play, and I don't even if he gloves it with Escobar's speed, I don't know if they throw him out.
Yeah, I disagree with the call.
I think the guy in charge of making these calls, he's got his dauber down here in Kansas City.
Here's Aoki.
You know, as I watch Lester, you can't help but remind me of Andy Pettit. Andy Pettit establishes his cutter inside, but also had a good fastball that he would use, and also mix in his breaking ball, which I always thought made him much more effective.
Almost the same kind of mentality on the mound also.
Aoki had a good cut, followed it straight back.
Both those two guys are rocks on the mound. They don't get flustered. When they don't have it, they find it.
So Luke Gregerson getting loose. I was just about to make the point as the inning began that I saw movement in the Oakland dugout, in the Oakland bullpen. Somebody had crossed their legs. That's all we had seen, but now somebody's up and getting loose, and it's Gregerson as the runner goes, and the throw is high, and then Escobar had to make sure he held the bag. Stolen base here in the 8th.
Well, the Royals were saying before the game, John Lester does not throw over. So with a 4-run lead, probably can even have a better chance at guessing that he's not coming over. Again, another runner past the base and having to reach back. All infielders in baseball in today's game stay with the tag.
The 2-1. Up high, 3 balls and 1 strike.
And the Royals' plan all along was to take him out of his tempo by creating havoc on the base pass. Even down 7-3, they're still employing that strategy.
To second. Sogard, nice backhand, throws him out as Escobar moves on to third.
But if you have a guy like Lester on the mound, Cal and Ronnie, I think that your temperature doesn't go up. You don't even pay attention to Escobar. Got a 7-3 lead here. I'm just going to get hitters out. And he gets Aoki out there. I mean, no big deal. Escobar can dance as much as he wants. Now the game tied, whole different case.
This is the first time the Royals have had a runner in scoring position since the 3rd inning. It was in the 3rd that Kansas City took a 3-2 lead in this game after falling behind 2-0. But a 5-run 6th has given Oakland the lead. That's down low to Lorenzo Cain.
Count is excellent for being in the 8th innings for John Lester. First inning, a tough inning at 23. After that, more Lester-like.
Lester has made 32 starts between Boston and Oakland. And there's a base hit up the middle that'll score a run. And it's 7-4. Back to Lester and those starts, 32 between the two teams combined, and at 27 of those, he's thrown at least 100 pitches.
So right here, just a simple fastball away. He stays true up the big part of the field. Proved he could hit that cutter down the 3rd baseline earlier in the game. Lester makes the adjustment, so does he.
He's gotten 3 balls hit on the ground. 2 have been hits here from the Royals.
Here's Eric Hosmer, who has a home run in his career off of Lester. If he runs into one here, we got ourselves an interesting bottom half of the 8th inning.
Escobar, who stole the base, was 11 for 11 from the 7th inning on. Cain the same, 16 of 18 from the 7th inning on, stealing a base.
Cain's getting off bigger and bigger on his lead, almost daring him to throw over.
Grounded foul past first. Ball and a strike. Hosmer walked his first time. Singled in the third to knock in a run. Grounded out to second in the sixth. He was thrown out at the plate in a wasted scoring opportunity in the first inning by the Royals. Runner going, grounded to first and off the glove, and they call it a foul ball. Jerry Davis, standing right on the line, made the call on a ball that went off the glove of Stephen Vogt at first, and Ned Yost will come out. Remember, it's where the ball is. Does it go over the bag? Inside the bag?
Jerry Davis has 31 years. This is his 123rd game in the postseason. The problem you have, it looks like it could have been fair, but Stephen Vogt does not move on first base. So when he got off that bag, he gets off only inches away. So when he dove, almost half of his body was in foul territory.
And that play is not reviewable, being in front of the base, correct?
It's not reviewable, and it's the right call. I mean, almost the whole body of Vogt is in foul territory. Yes, he did his glove on it. To the fans, I'm sure it looks like a fair ball because he touched it.
That's a deceiving angle, though, in the replay. I'd like to see one looking down the first baseline.
Down low with the 1-2 pitch and the count even.
There's a lot of hope and wishful thinking on that ball.
Well, when you're down like this against a good pitcher, you need a break.
Runner going, the throw, and he's in there. Lorenzo Cain steals the base, and the count full to Eric Hosmer.
Well, you can't really blame Derek Norris. The jump and the lead by Cain is just so large. There's no chance for him, even with a perfect throw like this, to get Cain. You have to watch Cain at second base now that they've closed the gap a little. They steal third base in bunches due to Kansas City Royals. Being on third with one out is a whole different at-bat for Hosmer.
Down 7-3 when the inning started. They have played aggressive ball here in the eighth. And Hosmer just does stay alive. Escobar stole a base and scored a run. Cain has stolen second.
Those are 29 steals of third, which led the majors. This Royals team, part of their DNA has been their toughness and resiliency.
They're at first and second with one out and one in. And Billy Butler coming to the plate. And the big guy will represent the tying run. Doesn't look like John Lester will have a chance to pitch to him. That'll be it. 7 1/3. He leaves with the lead. And he leaves with the Royals trying to rally. John Lester's night is through. He leaves with a 7-4 lead with a couple of guys on. Here's another look at that ball that Hosmer hit down the line. It was ruled a foul ball.
Well, it's impossible for us to tell. I was saying that because of the way Vogt does not get off first, that his body is inside the zone. But remember, the first base umpire, it's usually the call of the home plate umpire before first. But it seemed like Jerry Davis made the call, and if he did, they stand right on the line. And they can see the ball as if they're to their left, in the middle of their body, or to their right.
And again, to the point, when you get into a situation like that, you're looking at the ball in relation to the bag. You're not looking at the fielder still being in, well, he's still in fair territory, and he touched the ball. If it was foul, as Jerry Davis saw, and that's the call he made.
Another fine season for Luke Gregerson, their right-handed reliever. You'll see mostly cutters and sliders. 6 home runs he's given up this season in those 72-plus innings of work.
Well, the tying run is at the plate in the person of Billy Butler.
Predominantly a sinker baller, comes out with a slider on the first pitch.
John Lester hoping the bullpen can bail him out of this jam. Into right center field. That's going to be down for a hit, and it's going to score a run. Lorenzo Cain crosses, and it's a 7-5 game. Billy Butler's knocked in a couple of runs tonight.
Well, nice hitting. Off Gregerson, you're going to see mostly cutters and sliders. If you're a right-handed hitter, how do you defeat that? Hit the ball to the right side. Beautiful hitting by Billy Butler.
One of the fastest guys in baseball has been called on to pinch run. As Butler, after knocking in 2 runs, takes his seat, and there's Terrence Gore.
Hits for Butler in this game.
Terrence Gore has stolen 5 bases in 5 tries, and he's scored 5 runs since his September call-up. So Gore's at first, Gordon at the plate. And Hosmer standing on third. The Royals are within 2. Gore on the move. The throw. Late. Second and third. It's taken 7 innings for the Kansas City speed game to come into play in this game, and they're right back in it.
He didn't waste any time stealing that bag.
Only a big hit now. Gerard Dyson, who had a big steal earlier in the year, he said, myself and Gore, speed. It do what we do.
Gordon's the Royals' leader in RBIs, and there are 2 guys out there for him. The ball gets away. Here comes Hosmer. It's a 1-run game.
almost impossible play for Derek Norris to make. That slider slurve of Gregerson bounces almost before the plate, just past it, and the 7th wild pitch by Gregerson this season.
Now a fly ball will tie the game. Infield in. Swing and a miss.
I think when you have Gore on third base, you've got Perez on deck, and he has struggled in the second half. What better time to try the contact play? You got the best speed in baseball.
Just missed outside. We came to the bottom of the 8th in a 7-3 game with John Lester on the mound. My, how things have changed.
Now, Ronnie, the contact play is a risky play because if you're officially going on contact, if a guy hits a line drive at any one of the positions, you run yourself out of the inning. Normally you do that when you're up, or maybe you take a chance when you're in a tie game. Very rarely do you do that, even with this kind of speed with a guy on third base. You have 2 shots to drive him in right now.
You do, and they have been so great with less than 2 outs. Guy from third, they're second in baseball, or second American League behind Toronto, driving in the runner from third in less than 2 outs. But we're talking about a track and field man. This is the Oakland Athletics. We're talking about Herb Washington almost at third base.
I'm not saying it's not a read play that he reads off of it, but the full-blown contact play has him moving in the direction on the swing almost. And the risk is that you could get doubled off and you don't have that other chance to drive in a run.
In the mood for a little postseason drama, huh?
Love it.
If he reads a high chopper or full swing bunt, that's the kind of play that he can go on. He's got to make the ball get through the infield.
Downstairs, ball 4, first and third.
Well, you never intentionally want to put the winning run on, but he was not given into Gordon in that situation. He's got a runner, he's got a hitter up Perez, who's a guy that can hit the ball in the ballpark. Had a tremendous first half as he was an all-star, but also a guy who could get into a double play.
And so you see Lowry and Sogard at double play depth. Salvador Perez is 0 for 3.
Now, if you're the middle infielders, you're thinking, okay, let's turn any ground ball into a double play. Not a whole lot of speed at home plate. If you're Josh Donaldson down to third, I got to make a decision. Ball comes to me quickly, I still can get a double play, or do I need to take the out at home plate?
Perez, 22 grounded into double plays this year.
And he's behind, no balls and 2 strikes. Dan Otero, Sean Doolittle loosening in the Oakland bullpen.
This is a situation. I know the game has changed and the strikeout doesn't matter as much as an out, but it does here. You need to put the ball in play. Give yourself a chance to score this run.
Gordon going, strike 3, 2 out. Gordon steals second, standing up. But a chance with a fly ball of any depth there would have scored. Terrence Gore.
Well, I think Cal described it right. I don't think Salvador Perez cut down in his swing at all. He had one swing. He wanted to try to hit the ball in the gap or out of the ballpark, and Gregerson was not going to give him anything to hit.
Well, here's Omar Infante. Runners are at second and third in a one-run game. Infante had 66 RBIs, a career high in the regular season.
Four stolen bases by the Royals this inning to get back into it. Of the 3 outfielders, Sam Fuld in left, Josh Reddick in right. Tremendous arms. Coco Crisp, accurate, but doesn't have the same arm as those 2 outfielders.
Ball and a strike to the Royals' second baseman.
Josh Reddick on the right, considered to maybe have one of the best arms in baseball. Coco's been around forever, an accurate arm. And Sam Fuld, known, although with his 2 hits tonight, known mostly for his defensive prowess.
And Josh can sneak in a little bit closer, being on the offside in right field, almost to anticipate. If he gets a base hit, he'll have a shot at throwing out the runner at home plate.
Fouled back, and Gregerson ahead. Ball and 2 strikes.
There's some pitchers that set up their pitches, move the ball in and up and down. Luke Gregerson does one thing, and he does it well. He throws you that pitch that looks like a fastball, and it cuts or slides on the outside parts of the right-handers.
Yeah, based on the swing so far, you have to get another breaking ball here.
And you have to hit the ball to up the middle or to the right side off Gregerson. Well, that should be your approach.
Omar hit the ball at the end of the bat and was fooled, so he needs to make the adjustment to protect against the breaking ball.
Struck him out. Infante goes down swinging. Back-to-back strikeouts for Gregerson. The Royals score 3, but leave the tying run 90 feet away. We head to the 9th. Well, the 8th inning changed a lot in this game. 7-3 game became a 7-6 game as we move to the 9th, and Greg Holland on for the Royals, facing the top of the Oakland order. Coco Crisp ran up the bunt and missed it. 0-1.
Holland's numbers unbelievable. I told you 40+ saves 2 years in a row. Last person to do that was Dan Quisenberry in the early 80s. Right now, the Oakland A's, especially with Crisp and Fuld, are going to try to play for a run. Saw that bunt by Crisp. Going to try to get on. If he does, Fuld will sacrifice him over. Play for a run.
Crisp singled and scored in the first. Also singled in the 6th. Knocked in a run as the A's scored 5 runs and erased a 3-2 deficit.
Collin has that unusual style. When he gets in the stretch, he'll kind of take the ball out of the glove and show you, almost like a magician. See what I got in my hand, and then it disappears.
Nothing up my sleeve. Presto. One ball, 2 strikes. Count even.
Ned Yost's team, when they score 4 more runs this season, 69-14. This should be one of the games they're skating on. Not so far.
Crisp goes down swinging to start the 9th. The NBA on TNT returns with an opening night doubleheader when the champions, the San Antonio Spurs, take on the Dallas Mavericks, followed by the Houston Rockets and the LA Lakers. It all begins Tuesday, October 28th, only on TNT. That'll be opening night of the NBA season. This is opening night of baseball's postseason, and we got ourselves a dandy here in the 9th. Sam Fuld has a couple of hits, has scored a run.
What has happened with this second wild card? It's done exactly what baseball's wanted it to do. It's made the division so paramount to winning. Got to win the division. The only problem you have for these wild card games, these game 7s, is that whoever loses this game, it almost feels like you weren't in the postseason. You didn't get a chance to play in the series. You played in the game.
I can see that, but I can also see the last month of the season as your playoffs.
That's right.
And that's created a lot of excitement, a lot of opportunity. You've almost extended your playoff baseball to include September.
Almost had 2 game 163s. Didn't happen, but almost.
The home team, as Fuld pulls that one way foul, the home team in the wild card game in the American League has never won. We were there a couple of years ago when Texas lost at home to Baltimore. Last year, Cleveland lost at home, shut out by Tampa Bay. And tonight, Kansas City trailing Oakland. They're at Kaufman. Another one in the dirt. 2 balls and 2 strikes. In fact, the only home team to win a wild card game was the Pirates last year.
The Pittsburgh fans will tell you just by chanting Cueto, they changed the outcome of that game. Disbelief.
Collin to Fuld, and he walked him. Sam Fuld on for the 3rd time tonight.
Collin wanted this pitch, fastball away. Does it hit the corner? Pitch track says no.
Here's Josh Donaldson. Well hit to left. Gordon has plenty of room and makes the play for the 2nd out. Well, here's the guy who's done most of the damage. Brandon Moss. 2-run homer in the 1st. 3-run homer in the 6th.
You got 2 options here if you're Sam Fuld. Is Brandon Moss having a Reggie Jackson night, or should you steal a base? 21 stolen bases this year and get in scoring position.
Well, Moss has been in scoring position in the batter's box tonight. I think I would go with hold your ground.
Up and in and off the mid of Perez. And that puts an insurance run at 2nd. Perez charged with a pass ball.
Well, I didn't think of option number 3 for Fuld. That was a pass ball or wild pitch. Collin had 9 of them this year, but that ball right out of the glove of Perez and gets Fuld into scoring position.
And that might effectively take the bat out of his hands right now. You can pitch careful with first base being open.
Three balls and no strikes. And they will go ahead and put him on, so runners at first and second. Ed Yost hoping that Greg Holland can keep this a one-run game going to the bottom half of the 9th inning and give the Royals one more chance to advance.
Small sample, but it is off a closer and one of the best in baseball. 2 for 4, Reddick off Greg Holland.
Missed with the first one, 1-0. Sam Fuld is at second. He walked with 1 out, advanced to second on a pass ball, and set up the intentional pass to Moss, who leads from first. This one game is kind of like a snapshot of the last few weeks in the American League. Who's going to get in? Who's going to get knocked out?
It seems like so many are deserving, but not everyone can go.
And especially for Oakland, who looked like a lock for the postseason and then had to scratch and claw their way into this game. And it looked that way in this game as well. Ball's in the dirt. Perez made the stop. Had Lester on the mound with a 7-3 lead in the 8th inning.
Well, if they hadn't given up those runs, if Moss had not had such a big day, that speed of the Kansas City Royals would have played, it's played a huge role in this game, even despite being behind a run.
They're loaded.
Dave Island, the pitching coach, going to come out to calm down Holland. Not used to pitching in these situations at home. Used to pitching in a lot of tied games, but very rarely coming in with his team behind.
Jed Lowry is 0 for 4, but he stands in here in the 9th with the bases loaded and 2 out. In the air, right field. Aoki is gone. And the Kansas City Royals escape a bases-loaded jam. They're 1 down going to the bottom of the 9th. We'll be back. Budweiser is the official beer of Major League Baseball and presenting sponsor of tonight's American League wildcard game. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. Tonight's pivotal moment. Luke Gregerson, back-to-back strikeouts with the tying run at third in the bottom half of the 8th.
Pivotal moment. How about grab some pine? Great pitching by Gregerson.
Top of the ninth. Josh Willingham, bottom of the ninth. Josh Willingham to pinch hit for Mike Moustakas. And Sean Doolittle, the A's closer, is on.
Well, he's certainly going to be on the line with your third baseman, but certainly a shift here against Willingham. Second baseman Sogard will move up the middle, but the shortstop moving over to the hole.
Now this just seems like a normal shading besides a pure shift, because everyone's staying home except the left side of the infield, so they must have some information that he pulls the ball to the left side, but he's still, you got to still play him true in the rest of the diamond.
A ball and 2 strikes. Willingham started the season with the Minnesota Twins. Played 68 games.
Doolittle's numbers 10-1 strikeout to walk ratio. Kansas City Royals got Willingham to do one thing: hit the ball out of the ballpark.
To right, a long run to make for Reddick. Won't get there. It falls for a hit, and the tying run is on in the bottom half of the ninth. And the speed factor comes into play again, because here comes Gerard Dyson to run for Willingham.
Good piece of hitting, fighting off the fastball, making sure you make contact. Good things can happen. Thought it might go for a double at first. Josh wisely stops at first.
This baseball game for the Royals has turned half baseball game, half track and field meet.
And we're about to watch the 90-foot dash. Doolittle throws over.
As opposed to Lester, Doolittle will throw over. Dyson 9 for 10 off left-handed pitchers, stealing the season.
Escobar shortened up to bunt and took a strike. 0-1.
And Dyson also has stolen the toughest bases to steal. From the 7th inning on, he's got 22 stolen bases, which leads the major league. A lot of people can pile up stolen bases when they get them when they don't count. Dyson gets them when they count.
36 bags this year. The bunt by Escobar right back to the mound. Doolittle will go to first. And the tying run moves up 90 feet.
A base hit and 2 sacrifices on the card for Escobar as he gets the job done. Not easy to bunt Doolittle at 94 plus. Even though it's bunt back to the pitcher, you don't have a play because Dyson has too much speed.
Yeah, you have much more margin for error with the speed on first. So it doesn't have to be a perfect bunt. Just get it on the ground.
Dyson's got 3 straight years of at least 30 stolen bases. First Royal to do that since Carlos Beltran. And here's Aoki.
10 steals for third by Dyson this year. Very difficult to do, though, with a left-handed hitter up, or more difficult to do. Why? The catcher's got a free run. No one blocking his vision to make that throw to Donaldson.
Kansas City fans having flashbacks and nightmares of a night when Joe Nathan picked Dyson off a second in a game down the stretch. Mike Jorschley, third base coach of the Kansas City Royals. This is his first year in the big leagues. And he's in a playoff game coaching third. He played 999 games in the minors and managed more than 2,000. And now he's in the bigs, and you talk about a big moment here in Kansas City.
We had 162 games of practice.
I'm sure with Dyson on second and a base hit, he's usually waving that left arm.
Aoki waiting on a 1-0 from Doolittle. Upstairs, 2 balls and no strikes.
We talked about disrupting the tempo of Lester. Right now, the closer likes to pick his leg up, especially a power arm, and throw that ball. He's varying his motion to home plate, which does affect your release point and your tempo.
Well, usually this matchup would favor Doolittle, but Aoki this season, 363 off left-handed pitching. Although that ball a little too firm and fast for him to catch up on. The issue you have here is that Escobar, the second baseman, has to keep the runner Dyson so close that there is a huge hole between Vogt and Escobar, between first and second. Any kind of dribbler is a base hit.
There goes Dyson. Throw to third. He is safe. The tying run has moved up another 90 feet. Rev it up.
Gets a good jump, picks the right pitch. They just did the inside move. You can see the signal that Dyson could also see from second base. He was pretty confident it wasn't coming as an inside move.
He was moving so fast he could start his slide about 20 feet from the bag.
Now a fly ball ties the game. Infield in. Fly ball right field. Reddick, a long run, makes the catch, but that's going to tie the game. It is 7-7 in the wild card.
Stolen bases tonight. What a reaction from that bench. Great bat by Aoki. Dyson with the big steal. Who said stolen bases aren't a big part of today's game?
Lorenzo Cain with a bullet to short, gloved by Lowry. We got free baseball, boys and girls. Going to the 10th, all tied up. Well, the winner of this game gets the Angels. And we don't know yet who that's going to be. You see the starting times on TBS for the Tigers and Orioles. Whoever plays the Angels, the Royals, or the A's on Thursday. Man alive, what a game this has been.
Whoever does win it, Ernie, is going to have earned it.
That's for sure. Changes defensively for the Kansas City Royals as we move to the 10th. Lorenzo Cain has moved from center to right. Gerard Dyson scored the tying run, is now in center field. Jason Nix is at third. Brandon Finnegan is the new pitcher. The 6th used by Ned Yost tonight. He's just a kid. And he throws a strike to Nate Fryman.
Came to the major leagues after 13 outings. 13 in the minor leagues.
He was Kansas City's first-round pick this June, just this past June, pitched in the College World Series for TCU. And here he is in the playoffs. That's the fast track, boys and girls. Popped up behind second. Who wants it? Dyson. One down. Well, this place is buzzing again. It got a little bit quiet around the 7th inning stretch. But an 8th inning rally got them interested again, and then tying the game in the 9th has everybody on their feet. Here's Derek Norris. Finnegan had 10 strikeouts and 1 walk in his 7 innings of work. Hit sharply, but look at Infante. Nice play. 2
down. We came into this game talking about John Lester and James Shields. Neither is going to be a factor in this game. It's been Oakland's power against Kansas City's speed. And we're all tied up.
Also, I think it's ironic they started Giovanni Soto to control the running game. He gets hurt. Derek Norris comes in, and then the running is rampant here in the last couple innings.
The reason they won the wild card, no one can control their running game.
Nick Punto pinch hitting here in the 10th and takes a strike from Finnegan. Finnegan's only 21 years old.
What did Ned said? Finnegan's not scared. He doesn't appear to be scared right now.
It doesn't seem like he can get enough air in, but it doesn't really matter because he's still throwing strikes.
He'd spit right now if he could. You almost make the comparison, and we talked about this in the regular season, of another pretty good left-hander, fairly fresh out of college, and David Price back in 2008. Came up late in the year and figured into the playoffs for Tampa Bay. This kid could do the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 10.
Okay, we're talking a little small ball right here. You get a runner on, you bunt him over to second base. And then while he's on second base, let me take third base and set up an easier RBI. And here's the sacrifice fly. A little small ball. Kansas City is used to playing that. That's their style of play. With great execution.
Just an amazing at bat by Aoki. I mean, just to do it against Doolittle, one of the toughest relievers in the game. Hit that ball to the warning track. He was a star in Japan. He won a batting title, a Gold Glove. He's played in a lot of big games, and he had what it took in that at bat.
Nate Fryman at first, Nick Punto at second. The defensive changes for the A's as we move to the bottom half of the 10th. Here's Eric Hosmer against Sean Doolittle. Grounded up the middle. Lowry, right. How about Hosmer going headlong into the bag?
Another one of those choppers right up the middle. Hosmer smells it going in. And it used to be a head first slide would maybe steal a call, but there's no such thing as stealing a call. He just wanted to get there.
Well, here's Christian Colon now, a guy fresh off the disabled list. And he will square and lay it down. Sacrifice accomplished. Small ball continues. Winning run at second. And the spotlight shines on Alex Gordon. The second overall pick in the June draft in 2006, the College Player of the Year at Nebraska. Takes a strike.
We came in talking about 29 years without being to the postseason. Well, Alex Gordon's been their best player through a lot of that. And here got a chance to put them into the division series.
Doolittle looks Hosmer back. Bob Melvin's team had a 7-3 lead going to the bottom of the 8th. Now it's 7-7, bottom 10. Winning run at second. That was close. Ball and a strike. Gordon was intentionally walked in the 8th. Struck out a couple of times tonight and flied out to left. Grounded to short. Lowry will throw him out. Hosmer advances to third. And here's Salvador Perez looking for redemption. He's 0 for 4 with a couple of strikeouts, and that second one was huge in the 8th inning. Tying run was at third, and he couldn't put the ball in play.
A little better chance here, though, for Perez. Gregerson had a lot of those sliders working away from him. You're going to get a lot of hard stuff from Doolittle.
Perez led the team with 27 two-out RBIs. And that is going to send us to the 11th inning. The ground out to Punto ends the threat. Tough to get any closer than the game we have right now. 7 runs, 11 hits, no errors for each side as we head to the 11th inning. We kind of figured with the pitching matchup tonight, John Lester, big game, James Shields, this is going to be maybe a 1-run game. It's going to be very tight. Well, it's tight at 7-7. How did this happen?
Well, I mean, I was expecting a 2-1, 1-0 game, and they would be out there the whole time. But the excitement generated by this Kansas City team stealing bases has got me excited.
I mean, 6 stolen bases, power against speed, 3 sacrifice bunts, small ball by Kansas City to get back in this ball game.
Brandon Finnegan out there for his second inning of work. And Coco Crisp takes a strike. Crisp, the switch hitting leadoff hitter, turns around. The batter right-handed against the young lefty. Coco has a couple of hits, has scored a run, has struck out twice. Breaking pitch fouled away. 1-2.
Well, we've seen all three pitches from Finnegan so far. That good fastball, 92 plus. He's thrown one at 96. Curveball and changeup.
Pretty poised young man out of TCU. It was Kansas City's first round pick and number 17 overall in June. We were talking before the game and wondering, hey, I wonder if anybody's ever pitched in the College World Series and the Big League World Series in the same year.
Doesn't seem likely, does it?
He struck out Coco Crisp for the first out in the 11th.
This was the foul ball previous pitch. Crisp kind of fell over, grabbed his leg like he might have strained something. He's had a bad neck. A lot of these A's players, they've been playing hurt for the last couple of months of the year.
Sam Fuld lays down a bunt right back at Finnegan, who guns him out for the second out.
Small ball only works if you wear the color blue tonight.
Finnegan makes a play that some pitchers find very difficult, and he makes it with ease.
I was just trying to think about the likelihood of someone pitching in the World Series, College World Series, and the Big League World Series in the same year. Nobody gets to the big leagues that fast. So therefore,
your answer is no.
My answer is no.
Look at Hal, the computer at Elias, working on that right now.
Just past midnight in the East. That's pretty. 1-1 to Donaldson.
Even with Moss's big day, still to me the biggest threat in this lineup.
Well hit to left. Gordon on the run, cannot make the play. And Donaldson, after a big turn, will stay at first. The key there was Gordon keeping the ball in front.
Little line drive. He thinks he's going to have a chance to get to, but does a nice job of keeping it in front.
Well, we always think of Gold Gloves as making the impossible plays. Sometimes it's these little plays of making sure you get some leather on it to keep the runner at first.
Brandon Moss steps in. Two-run homer in the first off of Shields. Three-run shot off Ventura in the 6th. Now facing Finnegan in the 11th and takes a strike. Count even, a ball and the strike. One and two. Ronnie, you gotta like the poise of this kid.
Poise, how about the guts, the insides? I mean, he's been watching this game. He's seen this guy go deep 2 times tonight and just blew a fastball by him.
Breaking pitch missed, count even. We head to the bottom of the 11th. In the wildest of wild card games. Bottom half of the 11th inning. We showed you in the top half how Coco Crisp had grabbed at what appeared to be in the area of his hamstring and went out in the field and then trotted back in. So Johnny Gomes has gone out to left field.
Sam Fuld goes from left and goes to center field to replace Crisp.
Dan Otero is the new Oakland pitcher. Omar Infante will lead it off in the bottom half of the 11th.
So this is what you have to protect yourself against when you're picking your roster in this one game. With this, you got to protect yourself against this going deep into extra innings. So you do have to take a little bit more pitchers than you think, and you can't use your guys up so fast.
I was asking both Melvin and Ned Yost about this scenario. If it went into extra innings, they both looked at me cross-eyed, but sometimes it happens.
Otero with 72 appearances out of the Oakland pen this year. ERA of 2.28. He was 8-2. The guy who has come back from Tommy John surgery in his career. Toward right. That will fall in front of Reddick for a leadoff single here in the 11th. In between innings, Brandon Finnegan and tonight's starter James Shields.
My advice, don't tell him anything. Just let him keep going. Don't change a thing.
Well, here's Gerard Dyson. Came on as a pinch runner, stole a base, scored the tying run. Tried to bunt, pulled it back, ball one.
Josh Donaldson is in so close, almost trying to take it off his bat. And force Infante at second.
Mike Jersley having to yell at Gerard Dyson to get his attention.
You got to look for the sign each time something happens. A throw over, you have an opportunity to change your decision, take the bunt off, hit and run, or put the bunt back on again.
Donaldson creeping in again as Dyson takes inside. 2-0.
Mike Jersley, this is playoff baseball.
It's officially October, by the way, in the East. Two balls and one strike.
Interesting with hitters that have great speed. Sometimes they have a real hard time sacrificing themselves because they've been taught their entire career through the minor leagues and the major leagues to work on bunting for a base hit. This bunt is not for Dyson. This bunt is for his team.
Gets this one down. The only play is to first. The winning run is at second. For the second straight inning. Matt Weiner, what you got?
Well, EJ, Coco Crisp understandably frustrated by the injury, had nothing to say as he walked past me behind the A's dugout. Eric Sogard confirmed that It is his hamstring bothering him, although he described it not as a pull, but as a cramp. In any case, as you saw, he tried to give it a go in center field and pulled himself out here late in the wild card.
Meantime, Kansas City trainer Nick Kenny is on his way out to second base along with Ned Yost to talk to Omar Infante. See if anything happened on that play on the sacrifice as he moved to second.
I didn't see anything on Infante, but takes off.
Well, Infante's going to stay in there. And here's Escobar. Rounder. Lowry on the run, throws him out. The tying run again 90 feet away. Meant to say the winning run, obviously. 90 feet away. They had it there in the 10th as well. Then it was Hosmer. Here's Jason Nix. How well traveled has he been this season? January, signed by Tampa Bay, purchased by the Phillies in March, free agent in May, signed by Tampa Bay again, signed by the Pirates. Swings and misses, waived by Pittsburgh, chosen off waivers by Kansas City on August 28th. And he has a chance to win the wild card game.
Jason Nix, in 8 at-bats, does not have a hit in a Royals uniform.
And he's behind, no balls and 2 strikes. Omar Infante, the winning run at third. Led off the 11th with a single.
San Francisco and Pittsburgh beat this tomorrow. Only one wild pitch for Otero all season long, usually impeccable control.
Upstairs, 1-2. To end the 11th. 7-7. We head to the 12th. You would have thought that after 4 hours and change we would have the answer to this question, but we still don't. There are these scenarios if the Royals win this wild card game or if the A's do. The Tigers and the Orioles, and the winner of this game taking on the Angels. The ALDS on TBS. Brian Anderson and Joe Simpson and the Eck getting ready to call that other series. And wow, what a ball game here tonight, folks. Top half of the 12th. Brandon Finnegan still on there. And Josh Reddick takes the ball 1-0. inside and missed. He wanted it. 37,000 wanted it. Bill Miller said no, no. Three balls and no strikes.
And Giovanni Soto's thumb already wrapped up with a brace on it.
Leadoff walk in the 12th for Josh Reddick. That'll bring up Jed Lowry, the switch hitting shortstop, who is 0 for 5.
You'd be thinking they'd be playing some small ball here after getting the first hitter on.
Gets it down. Nix throws him out. Go ahead run at second. Ball hung up for just a second.
Well, that didn't surprise Nix. I think Nix had to play it kind of back just in case they weren't bunting. If he knew it was a definite bunt attempt, he would have been in a little more aggressive and would have caught that ball in the air.
I was a little surprised that they weren't anticipating bunt.
Ned Yost going to the pen. Finnegan hears it from the fans here in Kansas City. What a start to the postseason in 2014. And here on TBS in the AL wildcard game, we're in the top of the 12th. Identical line scores for the A's and the Royals. And Jason Frazier comes on.
Well, he did some nice work. 61 games split, 38 with Texas, 23 with the Royals. He's been in Toronto, Chicago White Sox. He has appeared in 647 games.
Was with the Blue Jays for a good chunk of time, 2004 to 2011, and then traded to the White Sox. Comes on in relief now with Finnegan. Alberto Callaspo has a bat and will hit for Nate Fryman.
647 games for Frazier. First one in the postseason.
Takes a strike. One of 6 switch hitters on the Oakland roster for this game. Of course, Bob Melvin or Ned Yost can change their roster for the ALDS beginning Thursday.
One's a fastball, two's a curve.
Yeah, now's not the time to get crossed up. You want to make sure you know you're on the same page. Take time out and go out there and make sure the sequence is right. You both understand what you're throwing.
Ball gets away, and the runner moves up to third. That is huge. Frazier with a wild pitch that Perez got a piece of, but it caromed away.
4 wild pitches, 3 in Texas, 1 with Kansas City. Now this is his 5th. If had everything else, why not a suicide squeeze?
Reddick is the runner at third. The go-ahead run. Popped up by Callaspo. On top of the A's dugout. Frazier's only 5'9". Perez dwarfing him as they talk going back toward the mound.
A little dwarfing going on at third base too with Gallego and Reddick.
Who's dwarfing who?
Callaspo played with the Royals from 2008 to 2010.
The further you get in, the more evenly spaced you are.
Slapped into left field, and the A's have the lead. Alberto Callaspo delivers in the 12th, and it's 8-7. What a nice piece of hitting.
Cal, one of the most unlikely guys to get a hit for the Oakland A's, struggled down the stretch.
Yeah, 0 for his last 14, big time to get a hit, but 4 for his last 50. Guess he was due.
What did we say? New season, wipe the slate clean. And he comes up huge here in the 12th. Now here's Derek Norris.
The Athletics have been 0 for their last 16 in this game with runners in scoring position. Now 1 for 17.
Norris did not start this game behind the plate. Giovanni Soto did. And then Soto hurt his left thumb, had to leave the game, and Norris entered.
Here's Soto again. My mistake. Callaspo had been 0 for his last 16 with runners in scoring position. Not the A's, of course.
Missed outside. 1-2. Strike 3 called. 2 outs. As Norris caught looking. And here's Nick Punto.
That fastball away, just darts on that outside corner. Pitch track says it's outside, but Bill Miller's been calling it all night long.
There's a strike to Punto, so position players that have not been used by Bob Melvin. Andy Perino and Billy Burns. And Adam Dunn, who has played 2001 regular season games, but never in the postseason. And he hasn't had a chance in this game yet. and 2 strikes. A leadoff walk has cost the Royals here in the 12th. He walked. He was sacrificed to second, advanced to third on a wild pitch, and scored on Alberto Callaspo's run-scoring single. Popped him up. Hosmer over there by the tarp, but it's Infante who makes the play. That'll do it for the A's, but they break the tie and take an 8-7 lead to the bottom of the 12th. As we head to the bottom of the 12th in the wild card game, the Angels patiently waiting for the winner of this one in the American League Division Series. And fellas, we've gotten our money's worth tonight out of this one-and-done game to begin the postseason.
Well, if you're KC, you're just giving up a run, and it might take the air out of your sails a little bit, but you got to say we had to score one anyway. So we'll get one. Let's get 2. It seems a lot less daunting than coming back from 4 runs down with Lester on the mound.
Lorenzo Cain will lead it off. Eric Hosmer is on deck as they face Dan Otero. And just in case you're wondering, Raul Ibanez is on the Kansas City roster for this game. He has a knack for some October magic. Ball and a strike.
Ibanez and the catcher Kratz, the only ones left. Kratz is a right-handed hitter. They just played that little ditty that they will play at ballparks. Everybody clapped their hands. I was saying, what do you think they've been doing for 4+ hours?
I know it's been said a lot, and a lot of times it's maybe overused, but nobody's left this place. Even when it was 7-3, rounding wide of first, Callaspo made the play in the throw to Otero. 1 down.
6 stolen bases by the Kansas City Royals. Incredible magic to get the game tied. You've got 8 runs, 1 more by the Athletics, with 15 strikeouts in this game.
And 5 of those 6 stolen bases coming in the 8th and the 9th, with the Royals behind and trying somehow to scrape their way back in, and they did, tying it in the bottom of the 9th. Here's Hosmer. A strike. Hosmer's got pop. He hit 9 home runs this year, knocked in 58 runs, has scored a run tonight, knocked 1 in. Somebody's bubble is going to burst tonight.
.162 becomes 1 sometimes.
looping.
A 1-2 pitch. Down low, count even. Christian Collin waiting on deck. Fouled off right at the plate. And it stays 2-2. In the air to left center field. Gomes is back, and so is Fuld, and the ball is off the wall. Hosmer around second. He's on his way to third, standing. And the tying run is 90 feet away.
What an at-bat. Fouls off tough pitch after tough pitch. He drives the ball to left center field.
Whenever I see a ball go up in the air when it's in left center, I figure Sam Fuld's going to make this play. One, great hitting by Hosmer. Great at bat. Shows great power. But no, too high off the wall for either Fuld or Gomes to make a play. Great hustle by Gomes. Hosmer could have went all the way around.
A one-out triple. Boy, that ball just barely missed getting out of here.
He was displaying his power that way during batting practice today. Working on staying inside the ball. Hit a lot of balls way up in those seats.
It's off that padding above the board. Now here's Collin with the tying run at third. Ran it inside and missed.
And you wouldn't put the squeeze out of the equation right here either.
Especially when Collin hasn't looked for the signs until right now. Now he's stepping out of the box. You got two chances here. You got Collin and you got Gordon on deck.
High chopper. They'll never get him. Tie game. Are you believing this?
This is just an excellent read by Hosmer. Sees it right away, breaks. Josh Donaldson has no chance. Tries to barehand it, but even then couldn't make a throw either at home or first. Might have been better off letting that one bounce.
How resilient is that Royal bunch? We'll be back. Alex Gordon coming to the plate, flashing back to August 26th. In this ballpark, walk-off, two-run shot. Off the left-hander, Glenn Perkins. Bob Melvin has gone to the Oakland bullpen and brought on the left-hander, Fernando Abad.
Abad's had a fantastic year for the Oakland A's as one of their specialty lefties. 69 games. Look at that ERA. Good numbers with inherited runners stranded.
He came into this season with a career record of 1-14 with an ERA of about 4.5 and a 13-game losing streak. But he's been sensational for Oakland. Alex Gordon waits. Pops it up. Foul territory. Josh Donaldson makes the play, 2 down. Eric Hosmer's 1-out triple. And Christian Colon's high chopper have tied the game. Well, Bob did his job. And Drew Pomerantz makes his way in. It won't be Pomerantz, but Jason Hamill, who comes on here in the bottom half of the 12th with a man on and 2 out in a game that now stands 8-8.
You know, we spent a lot of time talking about the Lester trade being the big difference maker, but they traded earlier in the year Addison Russell, who was their shortstop phenom prospect, over to the Chicago Cubs, and they got Samardzija and Jason Hamill. And now Jason Hamill has been put on the roster because he's one of those guys that is a starter by trade, only 1 relief appearance for Oakland, and he can pitch multiple innings if you need it.
You've seen a lot of things in your career, Iron Man. This one's got to rank up there.
Going back and forth, in my own experience, I was thinking about our series against Cleveland in '97. It felt like every play, we were in extra innings. Every play was magnified, but I've never seen anything like this.
Colon has 2 stolen bases. Right-hander might allow him to steal.
Salvador Perez at the plate. Hamill throws over. Perez looking for his first hit of the night. He's 0 for 5. He struck out in a big spot in the 8th. Grounded out to end the 10th with a runner at 3rd. 3 balls and no strike.
You see the defense. The thing I noticed, no doubles defense in the outfield, Cal. They're about as deep as you can play in this ballpark. Hamill's trying to keep Colon close, but base runners were successful 12 out of 15 times stealing against Hamill.
Waiting on a 1-0. Tapped foul right there at the plate.
Well, the reason you play so deep is you have a better angle, cutting the ball off, no doubles, so the run can't score from first base here. It would require 2 hits in their defensive positioning. They're not playing tight on the line, though. They're pinching a line down the 3rd. And holding a runner at the line on 1st.
One ball and 2 strikes.
Feeding Perez a steady diet of breaking balls. If you're jumpy at all at the plate, you want to hit bad, you want to drive in runs, you just can't seem to wait on the breaking ball.
The A's took the lead in the top half. The Royals with a triple high off the wall in left center field. And an infield chopper have tied it.
Close play there at first base. Christian Colon fractured the middle finger of his right hand. That's why he has that protective sleeve on. I kiddingly always call it an oven mitt. That's what it looks like to me, but it protects your hand as you slide back into the base.
Good chance you're going to get a breaking ball. With 2 strikes, it might be worth the chance going on this pitch.
There he goes. They pitched out and off the glove of Derek Norris. They knew it was coming.
Who would know better than the ex-catcher Bob Melvin? Did you see where the eyes of Norris were? Not on the baseball watching it into the glove. They were on Collin, who was running the second base. That's why the miss.
The winning run is at second.
In a roster of 25, 7 different Royals have stolen a base.
The team that led baseball in stolen bases and using it to their greatest advantage tonight. Now looking for a 2-out hit. Past Fuld into left field. The Kansas City Royals are walking off into the ALDS. The game winner. That close to the glove of Josh Donaldson.
Another breaking ball. Gets this one a little over the plate. Perez just gets enough of it. Stays back just enough and is strong enough to hit the ball down the line.
What a night here in Kansas City.
Baseball's version of highway robbery by the Kansas City Royals. 7 different Royals stole 7 bases. 5 of them scored.
The legend George Brett. I think everything in this town is named for him. And what a moment. And these fans who have stuck here close to 5 hours of game time tonight. Even when they were down 7-3, no matter. They battled back to win it in 12. Matt Weiner, go ahead.
A little water there. Been a long game, long time coming for this Kansas City Royals team. 0 for 5 when you step to the plate. Take me through that. Now he's got plenty of water. And everything else. What were you thinking when you stepped up there?
Hey, I'm so excited right now. I just want to bring Sissy. And they call it the pitch out, you know. Norris missed the ball, he get it to second base. And that's my time. He said, I got 0 for 5 all game, you know. I needed doing something for the team right now. And that's what I got. He threw me a slider, he leave it a little up, and I hit in the front.
7 stolen bases for you guys. What kind of a weapon is that for this team?
We got a lot of guys, you know, like to run, and they don't know run, you know. That's why P do, that's what I have to say, that's why P do. They get on base, they try to get a second, and all, yeah, we have to bring in.
You ready for more of this?
Let's go! Let's go! Let's go!
As your hero, Salvador Perez. Congrats.
Well, they waited 29 years for postseason baseball to return to this city. And then they waited another almost 5 hours for a playoff win, and it came with that swing of the bat by Salvador Perez.
He played in 146 games, a franchise record. He squatted for over 5,000 pitches, and he had enough still left for the big hit.
And among the guys who made it happen for Kansas City tonight, the kid Brandon Finnegan. He's with Matt.
Thank you, EJ. Brandon Finnegan, you were pitching college ball just a few months ago. This is just a little different, right?
Just a tad bit. I mean, it's been fun ever since I got up here. I'm definitely blessed to be up here. It's been awesome.
What were the emotions like when you were called upon in this kind of atmosphere?
I mean, honestly, it took me back to the College World Series. I mean, big stadium, big crowd, you know, that's all I can think of. I've been in situations like this before, so I mean, that's how I took it. I mean, just had to go out there and do my job.
It's been a battle for this team to get here over the years. You weren't part of all that. You get to battle a little more now.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully we go to Anaheim and take it to them, but I mean, we got to keep playing our type of baseball.
How about the stolen bases for this team tonight? It's been a weapon all season long, 7 of them. How effective, how much pressure does it put on the guys on the mound opposite you?
Oh, it puts a ton. I mean, that just shows what kind of team we are. We're very aggressive on the base path. We got a lot of guys that can steal bags, so I mean, it's awesome. But when you're a pitcher, that definitely puts a lot of you know, stuff on you. So it's hard to get through that, especially when a guy doesn't take over. I mean, we faced a good pitcher tonight, and luckily we got to him.
We'll see you in Anaheim.
Awesome, sounds great.
21 years old, Brandon Finnegan. Well, I could think of it as like the College World Series.
Just a little bigger, I guess.
Matt Weiner, busy man down there. I think everybody wearing a Royals uniform would like to talk to Matt, and Eric Hosmer standing by with it.
He's one of them. Eric Hosmer had the big hit to set up the game-winning run. Triple to left field. What did you see? What did you hit?
It was a fastball, 2 strikes. I'm just trying to battle. You know, we're battling for our season at that point. So I'm just trying to get a good pitch, put a good swing, battle the whole time, and you know, just missed going out. But luckily enough, we got the triple, and CC came up with a big at-bat after me.
Obviously, you haven't played in a postseason game like this before. Have you played in any game at any level with all the ups and downs with the pressure going on here?
No, this will go down as the craziest game I've ever played. You know, this team showed a lot of character. You know, no one believed in us before the game, no one believed in us before the season. But you know, we were down 4. We aren't going to quit until we're at the last out. And you know, we really showed a lot of character tonight, and we showed a lot of fight in this team.
Obviously, this team is not a home run team. You have to generate runs, and the guys with the legs were able to do it over and over again tonight.
Yeah, we had a game plan before the game, and we stuck to it. You know, that's one thing we've done all year. We've had our game plans the whole year. We stuck to it. And tonight, you know, we want to use our legs. We're an athletic team, so you know, we did a good job of that tonight. We got some key hits, and like I said, we just never quit. This group doesn't quit. We're not going to go home until someone tells us.
Congratulations. We'll see you in Anaheim.
All right, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Backed up to you, AJ.
The toughest of losses for the Oakland A's, the most exhilarating of victories for the Kansas City Royals, 9-8. And now they fly to Anaheim. And I understand they might need a plane. For Ron Darling and Cal Ripken and Matt Weiner, the rest of our crew, this is Ernie Johnson bidding you a good night from the K in Kansas City. TBS is your home for the American League postseason. Following a quick break, we'll stay tuned for the postseason show on TBS presented by Exxon and Mobil. What a night.
We're going to need to burn. We're going to need to win 11 more games or 10 more games to win this thing. So, our new Texas Hardshot player of the game for the next 11 games is going to hammer a boat on the cross. And when we burn all 11 boats, we're never going back on somebody's boat to claim the title.
Yeah!
Okay? So tonight,